Chapter 46-58. Huamin never thought that she would get married in a flash at the age of 24. Moreover, it was to the top person in the city. It was one thing for her to get married in a flash, but she didn't expect to hit the jackpot after only half a year of marriage. The arrival of the child caused the entire Su family to celebrate. Huamin also enjoyed the treatment of an empress dowager. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Even when she got up in the middle of the night to drink water, Su got up nervously. "I'm just a pregnant woman, I'm not disabled." "Don't be so nervous, Mr. Su." Huamin smiled helplessly. "Don't talk nonsense. You're going to have to bear the child for 10 months. It's nothing for me to do this." Su got off the ground barefooted. After getting the water, he came back and handed it to Huamin. "Try the temperature. If it's cold, I'll add some hot water," he said. "Mr. Su, if you continue to take care of me like this, I really won't be able to take care of myself. Will I become a panda?" Huamin held the cup and looked at Su Yu with a blissful smile. "You're the Su family's panda, then I'll have a few more in the future. That way, I can continue to enjoy the treatment of a panda," Huamin said as she drank the water. No, this one is enough. Don't have so many. Whether it's a boy or a girl, it'll be this one," Su Yu insisted. Huamin finished drinking the water and put the cup on the bedside table. She looked at him in surprise. "What? Don't all men want their wives to give birth to children for their family? Why do you seem so reluctant when it's your turn? This one is already hard enough. Last night, I watched a program on a foreign video website about childbirth. I almost died of shock when I saw the cesarean section. Mian. Let's have this one, really. I don't want you to suffer any more. One is enough for us." Su Yu was serious. After Huamin got pregnant, Huamin ate, drank, and slept in peace. Su Yu almost got prenatal depression. He had been reading all kinds of related books nervously and strictly checking what pregnant women could eat and what they couldn't. For example, she was determined not to let Huamin eat seafood, not even a crab leg. Therefore, Su Yu, as a man, did all this homework for his pregnant wife. He even watched videos of cesarean sections overseas, which showed how much he loved his wife. Of course, men would never be able to understand the pain of a woman's pregnancy and childbirth. However, a man who loved his wife would never treat her as a childbearing machine. Although the Su family only had a single heir for 5 generations, however, when it came to Su Yu had made up his mind. Regardless of whether it was a boy or a girl, they only wanted one child in Huamin's womb. He didn't want her to take any risks for him. He didn't want her to suffer any pain. Seeing how nervous Su Yu was, Huamin wanted to laugh, but she was also very touched. "You're a man, why are you looking at those things? As an obstetrician and gynecologist, I don't know anything. Actually, giving birth isn't that scary. It's a woman's right given by nature." Compared to Su Yu's nervousness, Huamin was very calm. "That won't do. Listen to me. This matter is non-negotiable." Su Yu insisted on only having one child. Then, he forcefully suppressed Huamin, who was unwilling to accept it. Su Yu hugged her tightly from behind. She remembered how nervous Su Yu was when they first got married. So much so that, on their wedding night, they almost didn't complete the bridal chamber mission. Perhaps it was because he was too nervous, or perhaps it was because he had waited for this moment for too long. Therefore, when his hand touched Huamin's skin, his fingertips would tremble slightly. Chapter 46-59. From summer to autumn, and now to winter. He had just gotten used to this rhythm and thought that he could enjoy the two of them. He didn't expect the little one to arrive so quickly and completely disrupted their plans. Mian, compared to calling her honey, Mrs. Su, wife. Mian, Su Yu preferred to call her Mian, for some reason. Every time he called her Mian, he would feel happy. However, he could only call her that at night after they went to bed. Otherwise, he would definitely be scolded in front of Tang Chuan and Wei Liao. Especially Tang Chuan, he might vomit if he heard it. After all, who would have thought that the once hot-tempered young master would one day become as clingy as a teddy bear? Not only was he clingy to his wife, but he also chased after her and called her Mian Mian. Just thinking about that scene was enough to make one laugh for 500 days. Mian Mian, yeah? Hua Min smiled sweetly. I'm sorry, the child's arrival disrupted my plans to take you on a honeymoon. Otherwise, I would have taken you to Fiji after the anniversary celebration this month. Su Yu hugged Hua Min tightly from behind and apologized gently. It's okay, we'll go after the baby is born. Anyway, I gave birth naturally. I won't rest for long. But I heard that natural childbirth is very painful. Su Yu's heart ached. A C-section is even more painful. Hua Min was actually just joking, but Su Yu remained silent. Hey, what's wrong? Hua Min suddenly turned over and saw Su Yu's melancholic eyes. When Su Yu was in another parallel world, he had accompanied Hua Min to give birth. It was when they had twins, Pudding and Little Bean. At that time, Qin Shu was still in the United States, and Su Yu was so nervous that he didn't know what to do. Hua Min's labor hadn't gone very smoothly. The hardships she had suffered in the process couldn't be explained in just a few sentences. Ever since then, the experience of having a child had left a shadow in his heart. Although he wasn't the one to give birth to the child, it was still more painful than giving birth to the child himself. After all, he loved his woman dearly. Mr. Su, don't tell me you have prenatal depression? Hua Min teased him on purpose. She deliberately placed her finger at the corner of his mouth. She could even vaguely feel some stubble on his beard. Mian Mian, thank you for giving birth to the baby for me. Thank you, Su Yu kissed Hua Min's forehead lovingly. Mr. Su, don't you think it's mushy that you have to confess to her every day? No, I just hate that my life is too short. Otherwise, I could confess for tens of thousands of years. Do you believe me? Every day, before going to bed, the young couple would talk about all sorts of things, gossip, and interesting things. In short, Su Yu's empty private villa. Ever since Hua Min moved in, it had become much livelier. Perhaps it was because it smelled like home, at a weekend gathering with friends. Su Yu brought Hua Min to the top floor of the Wei family's revolving restaurant. It was said that one could overlook the night view of the entire city. In recent years, the Wei family had been doing well in chain restaurants and hotels. There was only one reason why Wei Liao took the initiative to treat them. He was in love. Wei Liao didn't believe in fate in the past, so when Su Yu kept talking about Dr. Jiang, he was indifferent. Later, he couldn't help but be curious and went to the Municipal Public Security Bureau to look for her. He even deliberately called Jiang Xiaowei's number. Only then did he realize that this woman was too interesting. She was his type. When Hua Min was 4 months pregnant, Wei Liao and Jiang Xiaowei officially confirmed their relationship. That day, on the top floor of the revolving restaurant, the 5 of them were seated in a very strange manner. Chapter 4660. Su Yu and Hua Min sat on one side, while Wei Liao and Jiang Xiaowei sat on the other side. Tang Chuan was alone, so he was arranged to sit in the corner. In the past, he always mocked Su Yu for being a forever single dog. Now, the tables had turned. Young Master Tang, you must be lonely tonight. Su Yu looked at him and smiled. Wei Liao didn't forget to add, Young Master Tang, where's your Mina, Lucy, Lily, and Catherine? Those women aren't worthy of my attention. They're just bedmates to satisfy my biological needs. Do they deserve to be on such a big occasion? Tang Chuan wasn't convinced. So, our love saint, young Master Tang, can actually become a single dog one day. The tables have turned. Su Yu laughed proudly. Tang Chuan couldn't take it anymore. Lord Su, don't be so sarcastic. When your son is born, I'll teach him how to pick up girls when he's 5 years old. Do you believe me? In your dreams. Don't even think about seeing my son 15 years ago. I'll hide him. Su Yu was also going against him. Suyu hadn't attended a gathering of 5 people in a long time. Especially when he was attending as a married and father-to-be. In Wei Liao's words, Suyu was so proud that his tail was about to reach the sky. Suyu, look at how smug you are. Is your child going to be named Sushi? Tang Chuan teased him. Before Suyu could say anything, Wei Liao added, why don't we call him Scottish braised noodles? His words caused everyone to burst into laughter. None of these people looked like super rich people. They were all a bunch of losers who spoke in a local dialect. Jiang Xiaowei and Huamin got along very well. The two of them talked a lot about prenatal education. When Huamin returned, he dragged Suyu to the living room to play the piano. Huamin had never learned music, and his singing was average. However, Suyu was different. The Su family focused on diversity. Although Suyu wasn't interested in these things, he did know how to play the piano when he was 5 or 6 years old. Therefore, after Huamin turned on his piano that was almost covered in dust, he gave Suyu an order. Mr. Su, Dr. Jiang said that prenatal music education is especially important for children, so I plan for you to play the piano for our baby every night before bed. No problem, Mrs. Su. How about to Alice first? Suyu stretched his back. He hadn't played the piano for a long time and was a bit rusty. He had to find the score on his tablet. Unexpectedly, Huamin shook his head. Our baby won't be able to understand those profound words. Why don't you start with a song, Counting Ducks? What? Suyu thought he had heard wrongly. Little Star, Counting Ducks and 2 Tigers, which one do you think you can play? Huamin smiled. Suyu was speechless. 15 minutes later, under Huamin's coercion, Suyu braced himself and sat in front of the piano, playing Counting Ducks with a serious expression. And secretly recorded this scene and posted it on his WeChat moments. Boss's Nanny Dad Training Diary Entry 1, Counting Ducks, and added. When Tang Chuan saw it, he almost laughed out loud. Because of this, he used this matter to tease Suyu for more than half a month. However, Suyu insisted on playing 1 song a day, and he changed to a new song every day. In the blink of an eye, more than half a year had passed. Huamin's due date was August of the next year. Although they knew that the baby was a Leo and was more domineering, they couldn't do anything about it. That day, as usual, Huamin washed his face and was about to go to bed when he suddenly felt that something was wrong. He lowered his head, and saw a patch of red. Suyu. Suyu. Huamin was so scared that he didn't dare to move. He shouted for Suyu with all his might. Chapter 46-61. Suyu was on the phone in the study. He was talking to a producer about a variety show produced by Imperial Star. Just as he was at the critical moment, he heard Huamin calling out to him. His wife's call was the most important thing to him. Sorry to interrupt. I'll call you back later. Suyu hung up the phone without waiting for the other party to speak. Then, he rushed to the master bedroom. Then, he saw Huamin holding onto the door frame. At the bathroom door, there was red blood on the floor. Suyu was so scared that he almost fainted. Fortunately, Huamin was experienced. Don't be afraid. It's just blood. Maybe the baby is about to move. Hurry up and send me to the hospital. Okay. Suyu had forgotten how he carried Huamin all the way downstairs. And immediately brought out the most comfortable RV from the garage. To be able to let Huamin lie flat in the car, it actually took more than 40 minutes to travel from Suyu's private villa to South Side. But that day, it only took 20 minutes. When they arrived at South Side, it was 10:20 p.m. At that time, the main directors of the obstetrics and gynecology department weren't there. Suyu called President Wu and roared over the phone. Therefore, that night, a total of 4 directors of the obstetrics and gynecology department came from the first hospital and South Side. Just the midwives alone were there. It could be said to be the largest childbirth in history. Those who knew that Mrs. Su was giving birth inside, but those who didn't would think that she was a member of the British royal family. This was simply too grand. Hua Min was a strong person. When she decided to give birth naturally, she knew what kind of pain she had to endure. Therefore, while she was waiting for the cervix to open, she didn't make a sound even though she was in pain. However, just from the sweat on her forehead, one could tell how tragic it was. "Dr. Hua, if you're in a lot of pain, you can shout a few times. No one will laugh at you. That's how everyone goes through it." The gentle chief physician comforted Hua Min. She shook her head. Then, she reluctantly replied, "My husband is just outside the door. If he hears this, he will definitely be worried. You guys. Don't tell him." At this moment, Suyu was indeed as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. Lady Su and Yang Mayorong were also there. The whole family was waiting outside the door. It lasted until 1:30 in the morning. Suyu felt that his spirit was about to collapse. Then, he saw the door of the obstetrics department open. "Dr. Hua's husband, please come in." After Suyu changed into the sterilized clothes, he followed the nurse in with a blank mind. There, he saw a pale and sweaty Hua Min. At that moment, tears fell from his eyes. Hua Min was probably in too much pain, so he wasn't fully conscious anymore. "Mian," he rushed over and gently stroked her head. Before he could say anything to her, the baby's cries resounded throughout the delivery room. "President Su, congratulations. It's a rich girl." After the chief doctor delivered the baby, she held the newborn with a smile on her face. At that moment, Suyu really didn't know how to react. She's so beautiful. Her eyes are so big, 6 pounds and 8 ounces. The little guy really isn't thin. It's really difficult for our Dr. Hua. These words echoed in Suyu's ears. He didn't even know how to react. After all, this was the first time in his life that he was a father. It wasn't until the baby was placed in Suyu's arms that he saw the child's appearance. She was clearly wrinkled and ugly, but Suyu felt that she was the most beautiful woman in the world other than Hua Min. "Hi. Suyu, welcome to this world. I'm your father, Suyu." After speaking, Suyu lowered his head and kissed the little guy's forehead. This was his daughter, his and Hua Min's daughter. Other than Hua Min, Suyu's favorite little lover. Epilogue. All the surprises and good luck in this world are accumulated from your character and kindness. Suyu's side story. Chapter 46-62. Hua Min might be the most impressive special admissions student in the history of second high school. She was 3 years younger than her cohort. At that time, her first-year classmates were already 17 or 18 years old. And Hua Min was only 15, because she had skipped a grade before. The top scorer of the middle school examination had been praised by the media for a long time before she came to second high school. She had also appeared on TV. It was said that her results were among the top 10 in the country. Many high schools in the 2 first-tier cities of Capital City and Guanghai had already invited her. It was said that they offered the same conditions as second high school. 3 years of tuition fees were waived and a scholarship of more than 100,000 yuan was given. However, this girl rejected them all. In the end, she chose the most famous second high school in the city. Second high school was the most famous high school in C City. It was not only because it was an elite high school, but also because its enrollment rate was terrifying. It was said that the top class of second high school had 33 students last year, and all of them had passed the benchmark of a key university. It shocked the whole province. The teachers even appeared on Capital City TV several times and were interviewed. Second high school was dazzling for a time. The day Hua Min arrived was actually in the afternoon. She had slept at home until she woke up naturally. Only then did she realize that she had to report to second high school today. Therefore, she wore a loose-fitting school uniform and carried an inconspicuous black school bag. At that time, the students were on their lunch break. Some of them were sleeping, while others were playing with their phones. No one noticed that this extraordinary girl had barged in just like that, grade 1 class 1, the top class of the top school. Only those who could stay in the top 50 of their year in every monthly exam could stay. If they did not perform well, they would be kicked out. It could be said that there was a lot of pressure on them. The 15-year-old Huamin still had long hair that reached her shoulders. She had never been the kind of girl who was stunning at first glance. However, after interacting with her for a long time, you would slowly fall in love with her. This was where her magic lay. When Huamin came in, she glanced around and walked to the last empty seat and sat down. That was because there was only one seat there. Although she did not know who was sitting next to her, she still did not know. "Hey, this student, are you in the wrong class?" The class monitor, Han Su, noticed that an unfamiliar girl had walked in and sat in the last row of their class. The class leader's words made everyone notice that there seemed to be an uninvited guest in the class. Then, everyone looked at Huamian in unison. It was still a little hot in the north in September. Huamin took off his school uniform and put on a cartoon t-shirt with Mickey's face on it. "Hello, I'm Huamin." Such a simple sentence, but it was as if a bomb had exploded in the classroom. Huamin? Fuck, the legendary godlike figure, a genius, the top scholar in the middle school exams. She had been on TV, had her school fees waived for 3 years, and had even received an additional scholarship of more than 100,000 yuan. Everyone's reactions were chaotic. However, the person involved was still very calm. Han Su was also taken aback, but the class leader was quick to adapt. "So you're Huamin. Hello, welcome to class 1. Han Su smiled. "Sorry, I'm a little sleepy. I'll talk to you later." Huamin was a little dizzy. He ignored everyone in the class and then fell asleep. When Zhu Lingling turned around and saw Huamin, she liked him very much. "Fuck. I like this damn girl's personality. She's so arrogant." Zhu Lingling almost ran up to her and gave her a thumbs up. Chapter 46-63. When Huamin entered the class, Qin Chu wasn't there. He liked to play basketball. He, Gao Ran, and a few other seniors from the basketball team often played in the basketball stadium. That day, when Qin Chu came back, he saw that there was an additional person in the class. Sitting in the last row, there was a little girl sleeping like a snail. Her entire face was nestled under the blue and white striped school uniform. However, the fatty sitting next to Qin Chu gossiped and reminded him, "School hunk Qin, look, the straight-A student is here." Qin Chu glanced at Huamin. He still didn't see her face, but he wasn't interested. The first period in the afternoon was Teacher Yao's class. Teacher Yao was the homeroom teacher and also taught Chinese. She had the best reputation in the entire second high school and was also the strictest teacher. At that time, Teacher Yao wasn't old yet. She wore black-rimmed glasses and looked around the class. Even the few troublemakers who usually didn't listen to the class would tremble. In the end, Teacher Yao's gaze landed on the girl in the last row. Huamin seemed to be still asleep and didn't hear her. At this moment, someone beside her reminded her, "The teacher is calling you." Only then did Huamin get up in a daze. "Introduce yourself." Teacher Yao liked this straight-A student very much. It was said that she was a legendary straight-A student in junior high. "My name is Huamin." "Thank you, everyone." These 8 words were so short. There was no long speech or showing off her literary talent. As expected, she was simple and low-key. Teacher Yao smiled. "You won't be able to see the blackboard clearly if you sit in the back. Let me change your seat for you." At this moment, everyone turned to look at Huamin for her reaction. "Teacher, I'm fine here. That's all." Without giving the teacher a chance to change her seat, Huamin sat in the last row. Why? Because it was convenient to sleep. Teacher Yao's class was very long. She was talking about classical Chinese. Huamin only listened for 10 minutes before she felt sleepy again. Then, he fell asleep once again. "Teacher, Huamin is sleeping in class." There was a girl with a big mouth called Jing Xiujuan. Her role in the class had always been that of a tattletale. Her studies were average, but her ability to please the teachers was annoying. With her report, everyone immediately waited for a good show. After all, no one dared to be so impudent in their form teacher's class. Unexpectedly, Teacher Yao only glanced at Huamin. Then he smiled and said, "Let her be." "Yes, you didn't hear wrongly. Teacher Yao is right. Let her be." This was the privilege of being a top student. Of course, there were also people who were unconvinced. Someone among the students shouted, "Teacher, why can she sleep? Does a straight-A student have special privileges?" It was obvious that they were targeting Huamin. Teacher Yao adjusted her spectacles and scanned the class. She said word by word, "If you can get first place in your year every time, you can also sleep as you wish." Suddenly, the entire class fell silent. The teacher was right. If all the students were as talented as Huamin, they wouldn't need to worry about it. Basically, he didn't need to be taught much and he would be able to learn it himself. Then the teacher could coax them to sleep every day. Qin Chu lowered his head and flipped through the language textbook. The corner of his mouth revealed a trace of a smile. He turned his head and looked at the girl again. She was already sleeping soundly. It was as if the battle just now had nothing to do with her. Huamin. Interesting. This name is interesting. This person is also interesting. Chapter 46-64. Just like that, Huamin became the butt of everyone's jokes on the first day. She was a woman of few words. Other than sleeping, she spent the rest of her time playing with her phone or reading the extracurricular books she brought. The girls in her class didn't seem to like her, but that was normal. In that era, there were two types of people that people didn't like. First, you were beautiful. If you were more beautiful than everyone else, you wouldn't have any friends because no one would be willing to be a supporting character. Second, you were good at your studies. If you were better than everyone else, you would be liked by the teachers. This kind of person would also be isolated. Huamin had been like this in junior high, so she was used to it and didn't feel awkward at all. Instead, she felt quiet. After school, Zhu Lingling took the initiative to walk over. "Huamin, where do you live?" "Eastern suburbs." "Are you taking the 289 bus too?" Zhu Lingling was referring to the bus. Huamin nodded. "Huh, what a coincidence. Me too. Let's go together." "Okay." Huamin had no reason to reject this girl's enthusiasm. Just like that, on the first day of school, Huamian met her best friend in a situation where she wasn't liked at all. And for the next few decades, she was still best friends with Zhu Lingling. Zhu Lingling's grades were average, but because she was a special student, she was recruited by Second High School. At that time, she was chosen by an aviation university to be a flight attendant, so she focused on English and everything else was secondary. Second High School was a school full of rich people. Zhu Lingling and Huamin, who came from ordinary backgrounds, had more in common. In the first week that Huamin came to Class 1, he had already become a celebrity in the school. At that time, every day during lunch break or between classes, many people from other classes would come to the classroom door and look through the glass. It was like a panda exhibition in a zoo. Then, everyone would discuss it in private. "Look, that's Huamin. She looks average. I couldn't tell that she's so good at studying. Yeah, she's the top scholar in the middle school examination. I heard that our principal personally went to her house to invite her. She's a god. She's pretty cute. If she were my girlfriend, would she tutor me for free?" Haha, Huamin basically pretended to be an ostrich most of the time. Sometimes, he would just put on his headphones and ignore everything else. Inside the basketball stadium after finishing a section, Qin Chu sat down to rest, sweating profusely. Gao Ran handed him a bottle of water. Qin Chu took it and gulped it down. Beads of sweat slid across the tip of his handsome nose, making people want to scream. She didn't know why, but at the age of 17 or 18, He was emitting such a seductive pheromone. Chu, I heard that there's a genius in your class. Gao Ran gossiped. Yes. Then won't you be number 2 forever? Ha. Gao Ran gloated. Qin Chu glared at him and he immediately shut up. I think there's a way to deal with her, Gao Ran said. Qin Chu still didn't say anything. You can chase after her and use a gentle trap to influence her. While she's not paying attention, you can be number 1 in the grade. Huh, isn't that despicable? Gao Ran fantasized. Go ahead. After Qin Chu said this, he stood up and walked to the court handsomely. At that time, Gao Ran and Qin Chu didn't know what kind of important role Huamin would play in their lives. Chapter 46-65. Qin Chu and Huamin met for the first time half a month later. One afternoon, Qin Chu came back late from playing basketball. There were only a few people left in the cafeteria. Huamian, on the other hand, overslept, and it was already very late when she got there. The cafeteria was about to clear the tables and go to bed. The two of them walked in one after another. Is there any food left? They actually asked the same question in unison. Qin Chu and Huamin looked at each other. There's only one set left. Why don't you two share it? The auntie in the cafeteria scooped out the leftover rice and dishes and placed them on a plate. Qin Chu frowned slightly. He didn't have the habit of eating with others. He wanted to go out for a bite, but he looked at his watch. There were less than 25 minutes until the afternoon class. He wouldn't be able to make it in time. Huamin also slept the whole afternoon. He was a little hungry. He didn't want to eat, right? He would definitely feel uncomfortable. If he ate, he would have to share it with others. The two of them were in a stalemate. In the end, Qin Chu took the plate. He slowly walked to the empty seat. He didn't invite her because he wasn't the kind of person who took the initiative to talk to girls. Huamin licked his lips and took out 2 pairs of disposable chopsticks. Then, he walked over generously and handed one to Qin Chu. He kept the other for himself. Then, the two of them calmly shared a plate of lunch. The most amazing thing was that they didn't say a single word. That was also amazing. The two of them were indeed very good at holding back. When they returned to class together, the bell had just rung. When the other students saw them walking back together, they felt a little strange. During the break between classes, Lu Xiying, who had always had a crush on Qin Chu, never held back or avoided anything. This was because she and Qin Chu went to the same school since junior high. With her grades, she was able to enter second high and class 1. Like Wei Dong, she relied on money to get in. She bought bread and energy drinks from the supermarket in school. You seem to be very tired from playing basketball recently. Eat more. Just like that, Lu Xiying generously delivered food to Qin Chu. Bread and water were placed directly on his table. This attracted the envious gazes of the other students. In fact, Lu Xiying was quite pretty. Her hair was longer than Huamin's, and her voice was gentle and soft. Of course, her gentleness was only for Qin Chu. Qin Chu glanced at it coldly. I don't like bread. Lu Xiying felt awkward for a moment, then smiled. Then drink some water first. Qin Chu glanced at the functional drink without giving him any face. You'll get fat if you drink this. Why don't you keep it? This sentence made Lu Xiying's face turn ugly, but she seemed to be used to Qin Chu's attitude. Lu Xiying silently took back the bread and water. She did not give up and added, What do you like to eat? Tell me next time. Qin Chu ignored her and took out his phone to watch the basketball news. At that time, Kobe had just become famous in the league. Qin Chu liked talented basketball players like Kobe and always wanted to go to the United States to watch him play. Therefore, he did not pay attention to any girls. Wei Dong was more interested in the new straight-A student. This was because at that time, most boys liked girls who were more unique. Wei Dong moved closer to Huamin, which was the last row. Huamin, what are you doing on the weekend? Sleeping at home. There's a Disney animation this weekend. Let's go watch it together. Then I'd better sleep at home, Huamin said calmly. As soon as he finished speaking, the surrounding students burst into laughter. Then it's fine if you don't watch the movie. Help me with my homework. My dad said that he'll give me more than 1,000 yuan a month. If you can help me with my math, I'll give you the 1,000 yuan. Wei Dong continued to tempt Huamin. Qin Chu was not far away, so he heard Wei Dong's words clearly. He was very curious about what Huamin would say. Chapter 46-66. Huamin licked his dry lips and glanced at Wei Dong indifferently. With your aptitude, I can't teach you no matter how much money you give me, Wei Dong. It wasn't that Huamin didn't give him face, but Wei Dong's aptitude was indeed too poor. He was probably the student who had received the most money in the history of second high. Others only received a few 100,000 yuan, but Wei Dong's family received almost 1,000,000 yuan in funding. It was said that the principal wasn't very willing to accept him, and in the end, Wei Dong's father had to pull some strings to settle it. He didn't know why some parents were so persistent. Their child was already in high school, how could they not know if his grades were good or not? He clearly didn't have the talent for learning, yet he still forced his child to attend a key high school. This mentality was a typical Chinese education. Wei Dong was the last student in class 1. His grades were very stable because there was no room for him to fall. In every exam, he had to rely on his stupidity for the multiple-choice questions, which meant that he had to rely on luck. As for the other questions, they were all left blank. Some subjects were even given blank papers. It directly lowered the average level of class 1. It was said that teacher Yao had repeatedly complained to the principal about this. She wanted Wei Dong to transfer classes, but in the end, she didn't succeed. However, this guy never felt guilty about his poor grades. Instead, he was still in the mood to flirt. Moreover, the famous bad student in school was flirting with the famous top student in school. This combination was really out of place. Huamin's voice was neither loud nor soft, but the surrounding students heard it clearly. Someone echoed, Wei Dong, stop pestering him. He already said it clearly. With your aptitude, no matter how much money you give him, he won't be able to teach you. Ha ha ha. Wei Dong giggled and didn't feel embarrassed. He continued to stare at Huamin and said, it's fine if you don't want to tutor me. I just want to ask you out, to be friends. I think we hit it off quite well. Wei Dong was thick-skinned. Even after Huamin refused to tutor him, he still didn't give up. He even said that he wanted to be friends with Huamin. The classmate next to Qin Chu laughed out loud. This guy is really out of his league. He's actually trying to flirt with the top student. Qin Chu ignored her and continued to read his English book, as if everything that was happening around him had nothing to do with him. Huamin sighed slightly when he saw that Wei Dong was unwilling to give up. Then, she lowered her head and did not look at him. I don't like to be friends with bad students. Why don't you try to raise your ranking? Huamin's words made Wei Dong not know whether to laugh or cry. There were 42 students in the class, and Wei Dong was ranked 42. Although he was only one place away from the 41st place. But the difference in scores was like heaven and earth. Even Zhu Lingling, who was recruited as a special student, had a total score of more than 500 in her mock exams. Zhu Lingling hovered around 38. 39. There were also a few specially recruited sports and art students sandwiched between Wei Dong and Zhu Lingling. However, they all scored more than 500 points. Wei Dong's total score had never exceeded 240 points. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that it was harder than ascending to the heavens for him to raise his ranking. Wei Dong sighed slightly when he saw that Huamin had tactfully rejected him. Okay, if you're not willing now, I'll ask again later. Wei Dong turned around and left dejectedly. The bell rang, and Huamin continued to feel drowsy. Gradually, a rumor spread around the school. It was said that the new top student came to second high not to study, but to sleep. Hua Min's name resounded throughout the school like thunder in less than a month after she entered the school. Chapter 46-67. The principal liked her, the homeroom teacher liked her, and all the teachers who taught her had never said anything bad about Hua Min. She was talented, and she respected her teachers. Although her relationship with her classmates wasn't that good, they weren't incompatible. In short, Hua Min's personality was very mild. It was as if a pot of soup had only a little MSG added. She couldn't taste the saltiness, but she could feel that this pot of soup had become more delicious. In English class, the foreign teacher was a very cheerful Australian friend. He was tall and thin, and he wore glasses. After he finished the lesson, he started to play an interactive game. Hua Min, the teacher called out. Hua Min was reading a history lesson. Actually, it wasn't really history. At most, it was an unofficial history. This girl had been very interested in the Three Kingdoms recently. For the past few days, she had been studying the emotional entanglements between Chao Pai, Zhen Mi, and Chao Ji. Here. Hua Min heard the teacher call out her name and immediately stood up. Read the following paragraph. Try to pronounce it as accurately as possible so that everyone can learn. Okay. Hua Min looked at the densely packed English characters in the foreign language book and read it fluently. The surrounding students all looked at Hua Min with admiration, watching the brilliant performance of the top student. After reading a paragraph, Hua Min was just about to sit down. Qin Chu, you and Hua Min will perform the following dialogue, the teacher said. Qin Chu stood up reluctantly and didn't look at Hua Min. So the two of them performed a rather difficult English dialogue. Qin Chu's voice was very pleasant. It was the kind that came naturally. At that time, many girls who had a crush on him thought that if Qin Chu could sing a song at the school's New Year's Eve party, that would make many girls drunk, right? In reality, Qin Chu not only didn't sing for others, but he also barely spoke. Other than Gao Ran from Class 8, who he was very close to, only a few boys on the school's basketball team could be friends with him. After the English class, the teacher praised them. Before class, she didn't forget to ask the two straight-A students. Your English level is very good. Actually, you can consider going abroad after graduating from high school. With your grades, you can get into a very good university and continue to study. Hua Min didn't expect the teacher to talk so far. They were only in their first year of high school, and she was already thinking about 3 years. So, Hua Min didn't say anything. Qin Chu, on the other hand, replied indifferently, I haven't decided yet. Most of Qin Chu's classmates knew about his family background. GK Corporation was a well-known listed company in the country. He's had a good reputation as Qin S's, did? He was the kind of person who had the aura of a king since kindergarten. Hua Min, what about you? Do you want to consider going abroad? The English teacher asked her seriously. Teacher, I really haven't thought about what will happen in 3 years. Hua Min answered truthfully. The teacher smiled. Then you can think about it now. People have to think about their own future. I'll think about it. Thank you, teacher. The teacher smiled and nodded. Then, class ended. As soon as the bell rang, Zhu Lingling rushed over. Girl, bathroom, do you want to go? Okay. Hua Min didn't want to go most of the time, but seeing how enthusiastic Zhu Lingling was, she couldn't bear to refuse, so she just accompanied her. Class 1 was in the innermost area. If she went to the bathroom, she would pass by Class 2, 3, 4, and 5. Every time Hua Min passed by the other classes, there would always be a group of people surrounding the door. Look, that's Class 1's. Chapter 46-68. Every time this happened, Hua Min would lower her head and cover her face with her school uniform. Zhu Lingling was by her side and was very protective of her. Who would have thought that something like this would happen on the way back? There was a famous hunk in class 5. Yes, he was a very gentle and handsome boy. He blocked Huamin and Zhu Lingling's path. Huamin, please wait a moment. Huamin and Zhu Lingling were slightly startled and looked at the boy. The entrance of class 5 was instantly surrounded by more than 10 people. They seemed to be watching the show. Or rather, they all knew what was going to happen. Hello, I'm Chi Hong. The boy's voice was very gentle and he was wearing the same blue and white school uniform. He walked up to Huamin and introduced himself in a gentle and elegant manner. Zhu Lingling was the first to break down. She secretly tugged at Huamin's hand. Hey, he's Chi Hong, the president of the school's literature club, a very talented boy. He also looks like Panan. Ah. You have to calm down. Huamin was speechless. Big sister, I can calm down. You're the one who's too excited. Zhu Lingling was indeed easily flustered. After all, this was the first time she was stopped by the famous person in class 5. Huamin, come to our literature club. I heard that you scored full marks on the essay in the middle school entrance exam. We really admire you. As soon as this sentence came out, the surrounding people seemed to be disappointed and sighed. They originally thought that this guy was here to confess. Huamin and Zhu Lingling were both very famous people in class 1. Huamin was known by the entire school as the top student. Zhu Lingling's beauty could be ranked in the top 10 of the year. Tall, thin, fair, long legs, long hair, she was the type of goddess that many high school boys liked. Chi Hong blocked the two girls from class 1 with such fanfare. Who would have thought that it was just to invite Huamin to join the literature club? It was quite disappointing. Thank you, President. I'll think about it. Huamin calmly glanced at Chi Hong and then continued to walk forward. It was as if everything that just happened had nothing to do with him. Looking at Huamin's back, the boy was still standing there, as if he was still thinking about what she just said. Class 5 was also in an uproar. Wow. That's a top student, so cool. Yeah, she looks like a delicate little girl, but her aura is so strong. I heard that she doesn't talk much every day. Her classmates don't have much chance to talk to her. She didn't even look at our class hunk just now. She's so cool, that girl is so unique, I like her, haha. Behind him, the boys from class 5 were still jeering, but Huamin calmly returned to class. Hey, Mian. Why didn't you just say yes? I heard that there are a lot of handsome guys in the literature club. What do handsome guys have to do with me? Huamin didn't understand. You can make the first move. Pick one for yourself. Don't you think that your boring high school life would be a waste if you don't have a passionate relationship? Zhu Lingling rested her chin on her hands, looking like a love-struck fool. You read too many Qiao Miao novels. Huamian smiled. To be honest, don't you want to find a guy you like to spend the next 3 boring years with? Zhu Lingling still didn't give up. The idea of puppy love was deeply ingrained in her, and then she tried to persuade Huamin. Huamin opened the unofficial history book and continued to study the 3 kingdoms. Then, he coolly said to Zhu Lingling, to be honest, I came to Second High to study, not to find a partner. Chapter 46-69. Huamin's words almost made Zhu Lingling laugh to death. Huamin wasn't a humorous person, so everything that came out of her mouth was extremely serious. She looked as if she was facing death with equanimity. After she said this, Zhu Lingling laughed until she fell to the ground. Ha ha ha. Mian. You're so damn cute. I love you. Get back to your seat, Sister Zhu. You're blocking my son. In the entire class, the person who was the closest to Huamin was Zhu Lingling. Therefore, if some students from the same class or other classes wanted to write a love letter to Huamin, it would definitely go through Zhu Lingling's hands. On the contrary, if someone wanted to pursue Zhu Lingling, they would also directly write her a love letter. They wouldn't ask Huamin for help. After all, Huamin's cold aura was too scary. It scared everyone away. After school, because they were all-day students in the city, they didn't have to go to evening self-study. On the other hand, students from other places who lived in the school had to go to evening self-study from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. After school, Zhu Lingling pulled Huamin. "Let's go eat spicy hot pot, okay?" "That's too oily." Huamin didn't like eating these snacks. He always felt that the oil wasn't very clean. It wasn't as tasty as his mother's cooking, but Zhu Lingling liked it. "Come with me. I beg you." Zhu Lingling began to act coquettishly. She had always been very open-minded and straightforward, like a little pepper. Therefore, Huamin really liked this friend because she wasn't very scheming. She wouldn't make you guard against her, because she wouldn't scheme against you. Although he was unwilling, he couldn't resist Zhu Lingling's coquettishness. In the end, the two of them went to the snack street near the school. It was a very famous spicy hot pot restaurant. The reason why it was called a celestial being was because it was extremely delicious. At noon, it was usually packed with people. The malatang here was very cheap, only 5 yuan for a big bowl. Sometimes, they would even give away a bottle of local soda during events. It's very suitable for these students. It's very economical. When Huamin and Zhu Lingling came in, they didn't expect it to be full. Just as she was about to leave, Zhu Lingling's sharp eyes discovered that Qin Chu was actually sitting in a corner, opposite a boy. Their table was for 4 people, so there were 2 empty seats. Without waiting for Huamin to speak, Zhu Lingling pulled her over. "Qin Chu, can we share a table with you?" In fact, Zhu Lingling and Qin Chu did not talk much, but they were in the same class, and school had started almost a month ago. "Why does he look so familiar?" Qin Chu raised her head and glanced at them. "Take a seat." She actually didn't reject him. Gao Ran, who was sitting opposite him, was extremely surprised. Zhu Lingling probably felt that she wasn't familiar with Qin Chu, so it wasn't appropriate for her to sit with him. She ran over to Gao Ran and sat down beside him. Huamin had no choice but to sit beside Qin Chu. The malatang shop wasn't big, so the tables and chairs were a little crowded. As soon as they sat down, Huamin could even smell the sweat on Qin Chu's body that had yet to dissipate from playing basketball. "Mian, I'll get some food." "What do you want to eat?" "Anything is fine with me." Huamin was probably a Buddhist girl back then. Zhu Lingling stood up to get some food. Qin Chu lowered his head and ate the malatang without saying a word. Gao Ran, on the other hand, asked Huamin nosily, "Genius, hello, I've heard a lot about you." "Hello." Huamin nodded politely. "I'm Qin Chu's best friend." "I'm from class 8, Gao Ran." Huamin didn't say anything. "I heard from Chu that your grades are extremely good, and you're also very strong. You pretend to be dead and sleep in class, and jump around after class, and you're so good in exams." "Huamin, did you tell him that about me?" Huamin asked Qin Chu with a dark expression. Chapter 4670. What Qin Chu didn't expect was that the blame would fall from the sky like this. Gao Ran was lying with his eyes closed. From his tone, it was obvious that it wasn't Qin Chu who said it. Was he such a lowly person who gossiped? Qin Chu didn't answer Huamin. Instead, he glared at Gao Ran coldly. Gao Ran coughed violently. "Ahem. I remember that Chu didn't tell me that. I think I heard it from someone in your class, someone from your family, someone from your class," Gao Ran hurriedly explained, but he didn't know what to say. Fortunately, Huamin didn't take it too seriously and didn't ask who said it. By the time Zhu Lingling finished ordering the spicy hot pot, Qin Chu and Gao Ran had already finished eating. "Hey, where are they?" Zhu Lingling was puzzled. "They left." "Damn, so fast. Why did they leave when there's a beauty sitting with them? Are they men?" Zhu Lingling felt wronged. "Hurry up and eat, sis. Don't be a love-struck fool." Huamin smiled helplessly. Gao ran and Qin Chu left, but they didn't leave the school. They went back to the basketball court to play another game. Huamin and Zhu Lingling finished their spicy hot pot and were about to go home. However, Zhu Lingling insisted on going to see the captain of the basketball team. The captain of the basketball team, Xing Yan, was a senior in the 3rd year of high school. Although he was tanned, he was handsome. Even if he was tanned, he was still very popular. He was basically the favorite of many girls in school. Of course, this was before Qin Chu came to 2nd high. After Qin Chu came, this captain's fans basically ran away. Xing Yan was very tall. He was 185 meters tall in the 3rd year of high school. His body was very proportionate. Zhu Lingling actually didn't like her, but he liked to look at her figure. So, Huamin was dragged to watch a game. Huamin did not expect to see Qin Chu here. He was actually very lazy when it came to playing basketball. Everyone else was trying their best to be in the limelight. His shots, dunks, and even three-pointers were so cool. Qin Chu was basically a point guard, passing, receiving, and serving. After watching for a while, Huamin felt a little bored, so he stood up to leave. However, he did not expect that someone would place a bet at the entrance of the basketball court. If I'm not mistaken, she should be a cheerleading girl. They were all in their 3rd year of high school. Each of them had a hot figure, long hair, and ponytails. They were also wearing short skirts that revealed their waists. Stop. At first, Huamin didn't know that she was being called, so she continued to walk forward. Zhu Lingling lowered her head and played with her phone. She didn't care. The two of you in front, stop. Behind him, a girl shouted loudly. Only then did Huamin and Zhu Lingling turn around. You two are in your 1st year of high school, right? The girl in the lead walked over and asked bluntly. Yes, what's wrong? Zhu Lingling was very angry when she saw that the other party's tone was not very friendly. Who told you to come to the basketball court? The girl held her head high. Huamin was a little confused and didn't know what was going on. Zhu Lingling started to argue. What, did your family contract the basketball court? Don't play dumb with me. This is the territory of the basketball team and our cheerleading team. You can't come in if there's no game. Also, Xing Yan has a girlfriend. She's the captain of our cheerleading team, our sistering, so you two ugly people should stop trying to flirt. Captain Xing won't like country bumpkins like you. Which eye of yours saw that we like Captain Xing? Are you blind? Zhu Lingling was also very rude and started to fight without saying anything. Chapter 46-71. Huamin analyzed the girl's words and looked at the girls behind her. One of them looked more outstanding, but she looked at them with a gloomy expression. This cheerleader must have something going on with the basketball captain. When they went in just now, Zhu Lingling was staring at the captain's golden figure and drooling. She was afraid that someone misunderstood. Actually, Zhu Lingling might be a chatterbox, but she wasn't the kind of person who would easily fall in love with others. Since school started, she had received at least 80 love letters, if not 100. However, she didn't agree to any of them. Therefore, Huamin felt a little helpless about the group of people's inexplicable hostility. Indeed, the 3rd-year girls had been in school for a long time, so it wasn't strange for them to bully the newcomers just because they were older. Who are you talking about? Do you have a death wish? The girl wasn't polite at all. She went up and grabbed Zhu Lingling's hair. Zhu Lingling was also very fierce. She reached out and tore off the girl's shirt. Seeing the two of them fighting, Huamin couldn't just sit back and watch. She wanted to pull the two of them apart. However, the 4 or 5 girls behind her suddenly ran up and started fighting with the two of them. Huamin saw this and felt that this wouldn't do. She immediately joined the fight with Zhu Lingling. Huamin didn't learn taekwondo, nor did she know any martial arts. However, she was agile and had fast reactions, so she was very popular in group fights. The 3rd-year girls were more vicious. One of the girls picked up a wooden mop from the side. She directly slapped Zhu Lingling's head. Huamin reached out her hand to stop it, then, she kicked hard and the mop broke into two. Then, Huamin quickly picked up the mop from the ground and pointed it at the cheerleader's face. "I'm sorry, hurry up and get your people to help. Otherwise, I might accidentally scratch your face, and then you won't be pretty anymore." "How dare you?" The girl was furious. Huamin didn't say anything. He moved the mop forward, and the girl screamed in fear, "Stop fighting." "Sister Ing, Seeing that their boss had spoken, the girls immediately stopped. "Stop fighting. Let's go. Security will be here soon." Seeing that she didn't gain any advantage, the girl didn't want to continue. Most importantly, Huamin felt that if this continued, the two of them wouldn't be able to escape. If she didn't give the order, she would have to teach this cheerleader a lesson. "Fuck, don't run. Keep fighting. Coward." When Zhu Lingling fought, she really didn't care about her life. One of them could fool several of them, and then they would fight and bite each other like shrews. Huamian didn't know whether to laugh or cry. After the women left, Huamin helped Zhu Lingling up. She was in a sorry state. Her hair was torn and messy, and there were footprints all over her school uniform. Huamin threw down the mop and sighed slightly. "Let's see if you'll still come to see the captain of the basketball team in the future. You're just sitting at home, but trouble is falling from the sky." It was really a disaster for no reason. Huamin wanted to continue lamenting. He thought that Zhu Lingling would be obedient, but she got even more excited. "Fuck, I only wanted to look. These little bitches are too much. Now, I'm going to do it for real." Then, without waiting for Huamin to stop her, she limped toward the door of the basketball team's locker room. "Is Xing Yan here? Come out." Zhu Lingling let her long hair fall over her shoulders. She took off her school uniform and yelled at the men's locker room. Chapter 46-72. Hearing this, Xing Yan came out with the entire basketball team behind him, including Qin Chu and Gao Ran. "Hey, isn't this woman from your class?" Gao Ran whispered as he glanced at Qin Chu. Qin Chu didn't say anything. He glanced at Zhu Lingling and then at Huamin behind her. He saw them on the basketball court just now. However, their eyes were always on the captain. Needless to say, Qin Chu was disdainful. He kept cursing Huamin in his heart for not having good taste. She actually liked the big black bull, Xing Yan. "I'm Xing Yan, and you are." The captain of the basketball team had just changed into casual clothes and looked at the girl in front of him with a confused expression. "Grade 1, Class 1, Zhu Lingling." "Oh, hello, what's the matter?" In front of so many people, Xing Yan couldn't directly flirt with the girl. However, he had to admit that the girl in front of him was very flirtatious. Her long hair fluttered in the wind, and she had a slim waist and long legs. "Do you want to date me?" As soon as Zhu Lingling said this, the crowd went into an uproar. Huamin covered his face with both hands. He really wanted to shout, "I don't know this crazy woman." Everyone whistled and cheered at the side. "Hey, Captain, she's your fan, Captain, you're in for a treat." A few basketball players began to tease Xing Yan. His face instantly turned red. "Hey, don't joke around. This kind of joke isn't funny." Zhu Lingling was straightforward. She reached out and flipped her long hair. Her movements were as seductive as they could be. To be honest, Gao Ran was a bystander. Even as he watched, his heart was rippling. Qin Chu's gaze fell on Huamin, who was covering his face with both hands 3 meters away. He had never seen her so embarrassed before. He suddenly felt that it was very funny. "I'm not joking, really, I know you have a girlfriend. That cheerleader or something. But that girl looks so submissive. Do you really want to date her? Isn't it boring? Why don't you be with me? I promise you'll be happier." Zhu Lingling was willing to say anything for revenge. All the men were dumbfounded when they heard her say that she was old. He thought to himself, this lady is amazing. She's a senior, Xing Yan really didn't know how to answer. There was no love between him and Jiang Xiaoying. One was the captain of the basketball team, and the other was the captain of the cheerleading team. They were a perfect match. Everyone said that they were suitable for each other. Then, they inexplicably got together. In fact, they didn't have much time to eat and talk together. However, the little girl in front of him, once she took off her school uniform and flipped her long hair, it caused ripples in his heart slightly. Zhu Lingling, that's not good. Aren't you a homewrecker? Unknowingly, Gao Ran went up to teach Zhu Lingling a lesson. To be honest, he wasn't familiar with Zhu Lingling. If they hadn't eaten spicy hot pot together today, he wouldn't have known that this girl was in Qin Chu's class. What does it have to do with you? Zhu Lingling glared at Gao Ran. I can't stand it. You know he has a girlfriend, but you still want to steal him. You have a problem with your morals, Gao Ran continued to criticize her. They're not married, right? Xing Yan can choose for himself. What kind of homewrecker is this? What kind of morals is this? Damn it. I think you've watched too many stupid dramas. Get out of the way. Zhu Lingling had just finished a fight and was still angry. After being lectured by Gao Ran, the two of them became enemies. She's here to confess. What are you doing here? Are you here to liven things up? Qin Chu walked over to Huamin and whispered to him. Chapter 46-73. When Huamin heard the voice, he immediately lowered his hands. When he saw the person in front of him, he was a little surprised. Then, he smiled awkwardly. I'm sorry, everyone. Miss Zhu Lingling is drunk. She was just fooling around with you guys. Sorry to disturb you, bye. After being reminded by Qin Chu, Huamin realized that it was time to end this farce. Then, he pulled Zhu Lingling and walked out. The remaining boys on the basketball team were also dumbfounded. At this moment, a busybody said, they were fighting just now? Fighting? Who? Xing Yan was stunned. Miss Jiang from the cheerleading team. Your girlfriend brought people to beat up the two girls. Beat them up? Xing Yan frowned slightly. It's not really a fight. After all, they didn't take advantage of each other. Those two girls were very strong. The girls in the cheerleading team almost tore their skirts. Oh my, that scene was so erotic. The messenger covered his face shyly when he said this. Continue. Then, the little girl standing behind him almost used a mop to scratch Captain's face. Only then did he let it go. I was wondering why they started fighting, but it seems like it's all because of you, Captain. Captain, your charm is limitless. After this guy finished speaking, everyone understood what was going on. It turned out that the two groups of girls were jealous of each other. However, the girl called Zhu Lingling just now was really pretty and she was an interesting person. Xing Yan didn't say anything on the surface. He only said with a straight face, let's go. After changing his clothes and walking out, Gao Ran still yelled, I say, what kind of taste does Zhu Lingling have? She actually likes such a tanned guy. I'm so handsome, but she didn't even notice me. She even wants to fight with me. Xing Yan, that blockhead, is not charming at all. These kids are worse than each other. There's something wrong with their eyes. Qin Chu only smiled and didn't say anything. He wasn't interested in school gossip, however, this was the first time he saw Huamin covering his face with both hands. That expression of embarrassment was extremely interesting. Chu, what type of girl do you like? After complaining, Gao Ran asked Qin Chu. Qin Chu lowered his head and carried an LV souvenir bag with one hand. Inside the bag was a basketball and a towel. After all, only Mr. Qin would use a bag that cost more than 100,000 yuan as a utility bag. Do you prefer someone as sweet as the campus belle, Dong Wenwen? Or someone as intellectual as you go? Or someone as chilly as Zhu Lingling? Or someone like a cheerleader or a supermodel like Jiang Xiaoying? Gao Ran listed out 4 types of girls in one breath for Qin Chu to choose. None of them. Indeed, these 4 people were not Qin Chu's type. When Qin Chu was in junior high school, there were many girls around him. There were all kinds of girls, but he had always been unmoved by them. The number of times he spoke to a girl still did not exceed 3 times. I say. Bro, you don't like guys, do you? Qin Chu glanced at him coldly. Gao Ran didn't dare to continue speaking. When Qin Chu and Gao Ran walked out of the school, they saw a group of tattooed youths riding motorcycles loitering at the school gate. Then, Jiang Xiaoying went up and said something to them. Qin Chu didn't say anything, so Gao Ran continued, I heard that Jiang Xiaoying's father owns an underground casino. Several baths and entertainment centers are owned by her family. She's not going to find people outside of school to deal with those 2 in your class, is she? Chapter 46-74. Qin Chu glanced at Gao Ran. You seem to care a lot about our class. Look. I'm your best friend, right? Gao Ran put his arm around Qin Chu's shoulder and smiled. But you don't seem to care about me, ahem. I'm actually interested in the top student in your class, Gao Ran lied. You're such a shallow person. You should like Zhu Lingling, Qin Chu exposed him. Gao Ran immediately became nervous. Nonsense, Zhu Lingling is so vulgar. If I like her, it'll be so tasteless. Qin Chu smiled slightly and stopped teasing Gao Ran. Before he left, Qin Chu didn't forget to look at Jiang Xiaoying and the people outside of school. In the evening, after dinner, Huamin and Zhixin sat under a big tree in the yard and read a book. Zhixin wasn't as smart as his sister, so he had to be watched when he did his homework. Huamin held a small wooden stick and read a novel while watching Zhixin. Whenever Zhixin was distracted, she would hit him without hesitation. Sis, yeah? What novel are you reading? It's none of your business. Just do your homework. Zhixin shrunk his neck when she hit him with the wooden stick. Sis, I'm so jealous of you. You don't have to read or study, and you do so well in the exams. God gave it to me, I can't help it, Huamin said proudly. She only dared to be so arrogant in front of Zhixin. Sis. I heard, there are a lot of rich second-generation heirs at Second High, right? Yeah, Huamin said lazily. I heard that there are luxury cars parked at the gate every day. Are there Lamborghinis and Maseratis? Yes, have you seen anyone drive a bumblebee? It's the Chevrolet Camaro from Transformers. That's my favorite car. It's so cool. The more Zhixin spoke, the more excited he became. When his sister was in high school, Zhixin was only in the 5th grade. You're still so young, don't be so exaggerated. I remember that you used to praise people by saying they were good at their studies. Why is it getting more and more different now? You're just saying they're rich. You're too realistic. Huamin felt that unknowingly, the pure school was no longer like it used to be. Kids from rich families had a sense of superiority in school. Wei Dong in their class, for example, was so bad at his studies, but because he was rich, he could walk. Sis, have you seen Meteor Garden? I think you look a lot like the female lead, Shanai. I just don't know if you'll be lucky enough to find a Daoming temple. Zhixin chuckled. At that time, Meteor Garden was a hit, and everyone was talking about it. Strangely, Huamian wasn't interested in those idle dramas. Instead, she held on to a supernatural novel or an unofficial history book, unwilling to let go. Just do your homework. Stop gossiping. Mian, come here for a second. As Huamin and Zhixin were talking, their mother stood at the door and called for Huamin. Huamin stood up, put the novel aside, and walked over. Mian, here's your pocket money for next week. Yang Meirong took out 50 yuan and put it in Huamin's hand. She was a day student, so her cafeteria meal card was charged regularly. The 50 yuan her mother gave her was her pocket money for next week. 50 yuan for 5 days was an average of 10 yuan a day. It was a lot, especially for Huamin's ordinary family. What's wrong? If it's not enough, I'll give you another 20. Her mother was about to take out more. Chapter 4675. Mom, no, I have enough. I can't spend it all. Don't give me any more. We have a lot of things to spend money on. Then your pocket money won't be a problem. Mian, just focus on your studies and study abroad. Make me proud. Let the Hua family see how I educate my daughter. At this time, Yang Meirong was still sulking at Huamin. Huamin understood her mother's feelings. Huamian's heart felt heavy as she held on to the 50 yuan. Uncle Jing worked hard for the family, and her mother was the only one taking care of her and Jixin. It was really not easy. Mom, I will definitely study hard. Other than making a promise, Huamin didn't know what else to do. In fact, she never thought that being more talented than others was a big deal. Huamin was still a little worried about the future. She came from an ordinary family, and there seemed to be no other way out other than to go to university. She wasn't like those rich second-generation heirs who could take over the family business after graduation. In fact, Huamin didn't want to go to second high in the first place. She had long heard that second high was full of rich people, and the difference in what they ate and what they used was like heaven and earth. It wasn't that she felt inferior, but she felt that she might be out of place with those people. The principal and teachers of second high were very sincere and didn't hesitate to put down their status to visit her 3 times. In the end, Huamin went because of the high scholarship. All these years, her mother had saved it in the bank and was earning interest. Her life seemed to be much better than before. The next morning, because it was Friday, Huamin was in a particularly relaxed mood. On Saturday and Sunday, other than helping her mother with the occasional housework at home, she often went to the nearby mountains to pick mushrooms and wild vegetables. She had a lot of fun. When she was tired, she would eat the bread and water she brought. At that time, her stamina seemed to never run out. The classes on Friday were more relaxed. After the cultural class in the morning, there was music class, physical education class, and self-study class in the afternoon. These classes were the favorite of the bad students because they basically had no classes. They could sleep and play whenever they wanted. Some boys even secretly climbed over the wall to go to internet cafes and game arcades. At that time, there was no WeChat, and the students' phones were very old. They could only make calls and send text messages. Moreover, it was very expensive. Only a few rich second-generation heirs like Qin Chu would use advanced mobile phones that could surf the internet. Mian, let's go out and play later. Where to? Playing billiards and surfing the internet? Anything is fine. Zhu Lingling said. Let's not go. There's a lot of money there. Huamin thought that if he went to those places, he would definitely have to spend money. His pocket money was limited, so he decided not to go. I have money. I'll treat you. No. Look. I said I'll spend money. Why don't you go? Zhu Lingling was anxious. She wanted to persuade Huamin. Your money doesn't grow on trees. Don't waste it. If you want to go, go by yourself, but you better be careful these 2 days, because I think that cheerleader won't give up so easily. Huamin always felt that the senior in high school wasn't easy to deal with. It was better to be careful. Zhu Lingling, on the other hand, had always been very careless. What are you afraid of? I didn't really kidnap Xing Yan and sleep with him, Zhu Lingling said confidently. Shoo. Madam, lower your voice. Can you not talk about meat so easily? Huamin was helpless. If he wasn't used to Zhu Lingling's dirty jokes, he would have blushed all the time. It's true. Don't be so nervous. There's sex education abroad in their teens. They'll come into contact with it sooner or later. As the two chatted, the class president, Han-soo, walked over. After school today, the whole class is going out for dinner at Shingbin restaurant. It's going Dutch, 20 yuan per person. Before Han-soo could finish, Hwa-min shook his head. I'm not going. Chapter 46-76. Han-soo didn't expect Hwa-min to refuse so directly. Therefore, he was slightly surprised. Why? Hwa-min, is she in trouble? Yeah, she's in trouble. 20 yuan per person is too much. Can't the two of us not go? Zhu Lingling smiled. Han-soo was in a dilemma. After all, going Dutch was the fairest way. Besides, 20 yuan per person didn't seem to be a lot for high school students. In fact, Hwa-min didn't care about the 20 yuan. After all, her mother had just given her 50 yuan as pocket money last night. She didn't want to go because she didn't have a good relationship with her classmates. Okay, I'm just kidding. Mian isn't refusing to go because she's short of money. She won't go, and I won't go either. Zhu Lingling was determined to go with Hwa-min. If Hwa-min went, she would go. Hwa-min, it's been a long time since school started. After you came, we haven't had much time to interact with you. You can take this opportunity to get to know them. Then you can teach them some learning methods. After all, if our class does well, everyone will be proud. Han-soo was good at speaking in a bureaucratic tone, so he was really suitable for the position of class president. Hwa-min still shook his head. Forget it, class president. I'm really not suitable for this kind of occasion. You guys go and have fun. Then, Hwa-min took the badminton racket and pulled Zhu Lingling to play badminton. Han-soo didn't know what to feel. He felt that Hwa-min was a person who was difficult to get close to. He always had an unapproachable aura. He was no stranger to this feeling. Because he had seen the same feeling in Chin-chu. Only 3 people in the class didn't attend this party. Chin-chu, Hwa-min, and Zhu Lingling. Zhu Lingling was actually quite popular, but she refused to go because she and Hwa-min were inseparable. As for Chin-chu and Hwa-min, Han-soo felt that both of them were weirdos. After school, the students who were going to the gathering all waited at the entrance and then went to the restaurant together. Chin-chu stayed behind to play basketball with Gao Ran. Hwa-min and Zhu Lingling were intercepted in the school. She didn't know how those people got in. But, near the basketball court, 5 or 6 men surrounded the 2 girls. In fact, Zhu Lingling was not looking for the basketball captain. She was just fooling around yesterday. She planned to cross the basketball court with Hwa-min to the other door and then go to Axian to eat ramen. Sisters, please stop for a moment. Hwa-min looked at those people warily and then secretly held Zhu Lingling's hand. Who are you? Zhu Lingling's eyes were full of enemies. We were asked by a friend to persuade you not to steal someone else's love, okay? Hwa-min didn't expect that the tattooed young man would speak in such a genteel manner. The fact that the young men surrounded Hwa-min and Zhu Lingling immediately attracted a lot of attention. Chin-chu and Gao Ran were playing basketball when they heard someone running in a panic. Captain Xing, the girl who confessed to you yesterday is surrounded by people outside. Do you want to go and take a look? Although Xing Yan was tall and strong, he was actually quite timid and never got into fights. When he heard that Zhu Lingling was surrounded by young men outside the school, he hesitated. Don't meddle in other people's business. Let's continue playing basketball. His words made Gao Ran very unhappy. Captain, the girl did it for you yesterday. Don't you want to go and take a look? What if she was beaten up because of you? Don't you feel guilty? Gao Ran looked at Xing Yan and said sarcastically. Chapter 46-77. I don't know that girl either. What does it have to do with me? In the end, Xing Yan still said something heartless. Gao Ran was furious when he heard this. I'm in a fucking bad mood. I'll fucking hit him. Fuck. Gao Ran cursed and turned to leave. Qin Chu didn't say anything and followed him. Gao Ran is quite arrogant. Should we find someone to teach him a lesson? One of Xing Yan's lackeys wanted to curry favor with his boss, so he suggested this idea. After all, Gao Ran had embarrassed the captain in front of so many people. Unexpectedly, Xing Yan was still calm. Don't provoke him. Do you know who his father is? The kid didn't say anything and was a little confused. In the future, don't provoke Gao Ran for no reason. He's not someone we can afford to offend. Xing Yan was a senior in high school and had some experience. He knew Gao Ran's family background very well. These nouveau riche around him thought that they were rich and didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. One had to know that with one sentence from Gao Ran's father, their fathers would be investigated thoroughly. It would be a matter of minutes before they were sent to the police station. Gao Ran should be a famous second-generation official at Second High. However, some people didn't know his identity. They only thought that he was Qin Chu's lackey. Unexpectedly, they were an alliance of officials and businessmen. The Gao family and the Qin family were family friends and had a good relationship. Qin Chu and Gao Ran were inseparable at school. When Gao Ran and Qin Chu went out, Hua Min and Zhu Lingling were still confronting those people. Little sister, we also know that it's not good to hit a woman, but if you don't know what's good for you, then don't blame me for slapping you a few times. When the time comes, your reputation will be ruined and you won't be able to stay in Second High anymore. Why bother? Motherfucker, I dare you to touch me. There are cameras in the school. If anyone dares to touch me today, I'll pass out immediately. Then, I'll go to the first hospital for a full body checkup. I'm not afraid to tell you that I have allergic asthma. Once it acts up, I'll have to stay in the hospital for 3 months or even half a year. You guys better prepare a huge amount of medical fees. It's okay if you can't afford it. You can go to the police station and stay there. I heard that the bento boxes are pretty good. Zhu Lingling's arrogance really made Gao Ran's eyes light up. Previously, he only thought that Zhu Lingling did not know the immensity of heaven and earth just because she was a little beautiful. Now, it seemed that this woman was quite smart. After Zhu Lingling finished speaking, those young men did not dare to act rashly. Hua Min patiently explained, my friend didn't mean to steal someone else's love. It's just a misunderstanding. Why do you have to make things difficult for two girls like us? Bullshit, our friend was wronged. We definitely have to stand up for him. You two little bitches. If we don't teach you a lesson today, you really think that we won't dare to touch you? The leader of the group, a man with dyed blonde hair, seemed to be a little angry. Perhaps he had been instructed by someone, so if he did not do something, he would not be able to explain himself. Therefore, that person took the initiative to step forward and stretched out his hand to push Hua Min. Hua Min's reaction had always been very fast. Before that person could touch him, he had already taken a few steps back. That person missed, stumbled, and fell to the ground in a dog-eat-dog posture. When Hua Min retreated, he suddenly felt as if he had bumped into something. When he turned around, he was surprised to see Qin Chu's handsome face that angered both men and gods. Qin Chu stretched out his hand to support Hua Min's arm. Because it was summer, the warmth of his palm directly transmitted to her exposed arm. Their skin was so close that in an instant, the two of them looked at each other. There seemed to be some complicated emotions in their eyes. Chapter 46-78. Gao Ran rushed over first. He walked to Zhu Lingling's side and looked around at the young men surrounding them. Io, what's going on? A group of men bullying two female students. Brat, mind your own business, one of them threatened Gao Ran angrily. Why can't I care? They're my classmates. Gao Ran deliberately moved closer to Zhu Lingling. Why are you here? Zhu Lingling lowered her voice and looked at him sideways. A hero saving a damsel in distress, Gao Ran said. Zhu Lingling was speechless. Only Gao Ran would be able to say such a lame line. Are you okay? Qin Chu asked Hua Min. Hua Min shook his head. Qin Chu then walked to Gao Ran's side. This is a school. You outsiders can't come in, and you can't bully our students. Hurry up and leave. Qin Chu didn't like to talk nonsense like Gao Ran. He explained the situation very concisely. Unexpectedly, those people didn't know what was good for them at all. At this moment, more and more people gathered around. Even the few cowards from the basketball team were standing behind the crowd and watching. Gao Ran's morale was greatly boosted. Didn't you hear what my brother said? Hurry up and get out of here. Gao Ran scolded. You two brats, do you want to die? One of them was scolded by Gao Ran and couldn't hold back his pride, so he rushed up. Gao Ran pushed Zhu Lingling behind him without hesitation, then, he rushed up and started fighting. Qin Chu and Gao Ran attacked almost at the same time. 2 against 5, although they were at a disadvantage in numbers. However, in less than 5 minutes, the 5 of them all fell to the ground. Gao Ran and Qin Chu had a rare tacit understanding. The 2 of them attacked extremely quickly, and Qin Chu was very ruthless. Hua Min saw it very clearly from the side. For the first time, she felt that something in her heart seemed to be in a mess. At this moment, a red-haired guy who was lying on the ground got up unwillingly. He took out a dagger from somewhere. He stabbed Qin Chu's abdomen. Be careful, Hua Min was a little nervous and blurted out. Qin Chu didn't panic and grabbed that person's arm tightly. Then, he pulled. Instantly, a scream echoed throughout the basketball stadium. The surrounding people who were watching couldn't help but frown. That kind of pain was really painful to watch. Then, the school's security on their way over, they took the 5 young men. She looked at Qin Chu and Gao Ran. There wasn't even a speck of dust on them. Then, everyone dispersed. There were only 4 people left at the entrance of the basketball court. At this moment, the sun on S's. Hua Min looked at Qin Chu and wanted to say something. Before he could say anything, Gao Ran walked up to Zhu Lingling. I saved you just now. How are you going to repay me? Zhu Lingling's face darkened. Then, she gritted her teeth and asked him word by word. Can you tell me, why were you touching my breasts when you pushed me back just now? Gao Ran, Hua Min burst out laughing when she heard that. Qin Chu was also sweating. Gao Ran had really outsmarted himself. I. When did I? Gao Ran still wanted to deny it. So, I'm wondering, if you did it on purpose. Did you help me because you wanted to take advantage of me, or did you take advantage of me because you wanted to help me? Zhu Lingling's question made Gao Ran speechless. Why are you so ungrateful? The 2 of us helped you, and you're suspecting us? But you touched me, that's the truth. Zhu Lingling's face was still dark. Hua Min took the initiative to break the silence. Why don't we go to Aoxian's ramen? I'm a little hungry, she said. Chapter 46-79. After hearing Hua Min's suggestion, Gao Ran also felt a little hungry. But the 2 of us have helped you so much, yet you 2 are so stingy. You're treating us to Aoxian's ramen? 2 yuan for a bowl of noodles and you're sending us away? Gao Ran was unconvinced. Hua Min glanced at Gao Ran and smiled. You're thinking too much. We're not treating. The 4 of us are splitting the bill. Gao Ran, Qin Chu, alright, you win. 2 yuan for a bowl of noodles and you want to split the bill with us. You're ruthless. Gao Ran finally understood why Hua Min, a straight-A student, was unpopular in class. He was simply a weirdo among weirdos. Hua Min's words made Qin Chu laugh. Then, the 4 of them passed through the basketball stadium and went to Aoxian's ramen from the side door. Perhaps they came out too late, so there were very few students in school. When they entered Aoxian's ramen, there was only one other table of customers besides them. It was much quieter than usual. "Boss, 4 bowls of beef ramen," Huamin said. "Boss, I want an extra 10 yuan for beef," Gao Ran said. "You'll pay for it yourself." Zhu Lingling looked at him. "What else can I do? If I expect you to pay for me, then it'll be too late." Gao Ran felt that he and Zhu Lingling might have been enemies in their previous lives. When they met, other than fighting, there seemed to be nothing else to do. Perhaps it was because they were too hungry, but the 4 of them ate in a very lively atmosphere. They tacitly didn't speak and ate mouthful by mouthful. In the frozen air, there was only the sound of noodles being eaten in unison. The boss looked at this group of cute high school students and was in a good mood. He even gave them his own tomato brisket soup for free. When it was time to pay the bill, Huamin actually had to pay. He said that he wanted them to split the bill, but it was just a joke. She wasn't that ignorant. If it weren't for the help of these 2 boys today, she and Zhu Lingling might have been in some trouble. At least, they wouldn't have been able to get away so quickly. Unexpectedly, Huamin was just about to get up. Qin Chu took out his wallet and elegantly took out 100 yuan. "Boss, the bill please." "Wow, a local tycoon is treating us." "Then I want to eat another bowl," Zhu Lingling said happily. Gao Ran glanced at her. "Can you not be so shameless? As a woman, you have to be reserved. I like to be unreserved." "So what, are you going to bite me?" "I'm not a dog, I can't be bothered to bite you. Besides, you look poisonous. I'm afraid that if I bite you, I'll be poisoned to death." They were still bickering. Huamin noticed that Qin Chu's wallet was black and plain. There was no pattern at all. When he opened the wallet and folded it, there was a secret logo inside. This was a very luxurious and low-key brand called BV. Compared to Louis Vuitton, this brand had more of an emotional appeal. Seeing his low-key personality, Huamin's impression of him increased by a few points. "How are you 2 going back later?" Gao Ran ignored Zhu Lingling and asked Huamin. "Let's take the bus. I don't have time to go to my house. I'm planning to transfer." "Why don't you stay at my house?" Zhu Lingling invited when she heard that Huamin wanted to transfer. Huamin shook his head. "It's okay. It's not that late. I'll walk slowly. Anyway, it's my rest day tomorrow." "Where do you live?" Qin Chu asked her. "Eastern Suburbs Commoner District." Everyone thought that Qin Chu would say, "Why don't I send you home?" Even Huamin thought that this boy wouldn't ask where he lived for no reason. Unexpectedly, Qin Chu glanced at Gao Ran and said, "You send her back." "Me? Why me? It's not on the way." Gao Ran was puzzled. "Isn't your grandma's house in that direction too, Gao Ran?" "Huamin, I say, why are you torturing me when you're flirting?" Gao Ran didn't feel awkward saying it to his face. Chapter 4680. "Because you're my bro," Qin Chu said shamelessly. "Fuck you. Now you remember that I'm your bro. Are you giving me a ride or not?" "No." Gao Ran threw a tantrum. "Okay, then I won't force you. My collection of Huang Jiaju's albums." "Wait. You mean, if I give you a ride, you'll give me the albums?" Gao Ran finally realized what was going on. Qin Chu nodded slightly. "Deal." Gao Ran shamelessly refuted his own words and stood up with a whoosh. "Let's go, Brainiac, I'll take you home." I thought it wasn't on your way home?" Huamin was speechless. "It's okay. I miss my grandma, so I'll go see her," Gao Ran said calmly. "Gao Ran, don't you think you're being hypocritical?" Zhu Lingling couldn't stand it anymore. "Don't always be there for me. Hey, what about me? Who's going to take me home?" "Qin Chu, you?" Zhu Lingling wondered why they were all talking about who would take Huamin home and where she stood. Isn't your house only 3 stops away from the school? And the 146 train will stay open until 10 p.m., Chin Chu said. Good, you're good. You even know that. The 4 of them parted at the door of ramen. It was indeed convenient for Zhu Lingling to go home since it wasn't far. Chin Chu, on the other hand, hailed a taxi and left. Gao Ran, on the other hand, had a hard time. He took the bus with Hua Mian, and after 2 transfers, they arrived at the eastern suburbs. Along the way, the 2 of them chatted quite naturally. Gao Ran, your house looks pretty good. Why does your grandma still live in the eastern suburbs? Hua Min was curious. My grandparents have retired. They have a courtyard house in the eastern suburbs. They like to play with some flowers and plants. They are very carefree. That's true. Most of the city is being renovated. Only the eastern suburbs are left with single-story houses, Hua Min said. Yes, but it's going to be demolished soon. When that time comes, you'll be the 2nd generation of the demolition team. Haha. Hua Min, by the way, Hua Min. Don't you think that Chin Chu treats you differently? Nope. We've been in the same class for almost 2 months, but we haven't spoken more than 20 sentences, Hua Min said truthfully. Then you should be content. We were classmates in junior high school. She was a girl. She went to school with Chin Chu for 3 years. There's something we haven't said to each other yet. Hua Min, are you shocked? Yes, a little bit. His personality is like that. He doesn't like to talk, especially to girls. Gao Ran said. I can tell. But he seems a little willing to talk to you. No, if he really wanted to talk to me, he wouldn't have asked you to drive me home. Hua Min smiled. That's because you don't know what he's doing tonight. Gao Ran smiled mysteriously. Hua Min was slightly surprised. Then Gao Ran continued, Chu is the only child in his family. When he was 10, he followed his father to attend board meetings. When he was 15, he was able to attend board meetings on his own. Every Friday is a high-level meeting of GK, and all the shareholders are there. This is an agreement between him and his father. Otherwise, why would he ask me to drive you home? I see. Hua Min was quite shocked. To be honest, Chin Chu was only 17 or 18 years old. Every Friday, after school, he would go to the company for a meeting. That was quite impressive. Hua Min. Yeah? If Chu really pursues you, would you be willing? Gao Ran asked nosily. Hua Min's cheeks flushed slightly when he heard this. This kid had the same personality as Zhu Lingling. They didn't know how to be reserved at all. Chapter 4681. The night is pretty good tonight. Hua Min raised her head and looked at the sky. She didn't respond to Gao Ran's words at all. Gao Ran didn't know why Chin Chu was interested in this weird top student. However, he also knew that it wasn't easy to get anything out of Hua Min. They walked like this and chatted for a while. Almost all of it was unimportant. Hua Min knew very well that it was because of Chin Chu that Gao Ran was willing to send her all the way home. Therefore, she naturally had to thank Gao Ran and Chin Chu. Hua Min was puzzled. Shouldn't Chin Chu hate her? Before Hua Min came to second high, Chin Chu had always been number 1. Now that Hua Min was here, Chin Chu had become number 2 forever. Many students talked about it in private or tried to sow discord. However, Hua Min never saw any hostility in Chin Chu's eyes. She had to admit that she was very happy about this. GK Corporation meeting room. After the meeting, Chin Chu's father didn't forget to ask his son. Chu, do you have anything to add? I don't think we need to bid against the Hua Corporation for the demolition project in the eastern suburbs, Chin Chu said. Oh. Tell me about it. Chin Chu's father looked at his son with interest. Chin Chu stood up. His black shirt was always so eye-catching. The young man had a rare calm aura on his face. The Hua Corporation has been counting on the rapid development of real estate for the past few years. Most of the land in the city center has been bought up by big developers. Although the government hasn't announced any plans for the future urban planning, it's obvious that the eastern suburbs will be a treasure trove. However, it won't be for the next few years. After all, the city's subways haven't been popularized yet. The eastern suburbs is far away, and even if we build a residential area, it won't be popular. People will still choose to leisurely choose prime locations. Therefore, we're investing a large amount of money there. I don't think it's necessary at all. Why don't we invest in new energy sources? I think that in the future, we might consider the issue of environmental protection. Coal, fuel, and the like, polluting energy sources might be replaced. After Qin Chu finished speaking, the other shareholders nodded. President Qin has a point. Chairman, I don't think we should follow the Hua Corporation and get involved in the construction of shantytowns. GK didn't become what it is today because of real estate alone. President Qin has a point, we should focus on new energy sources. Energy sources might be a big cake in the future. Emicham, we'll discuss this later. That's all for now. After the meeting, Qin Chu and his father walked out of the conference room one after the other. Get in the car. Your mom made soup. We'll drink it when we get back. Mr. Qin looked at his son lovingly. Dad, I have something to do. You can go back first. Should I ask the driver to drive you? It's okay. I'll take a taxi. Be careful. Okay. Qin Chu nodded. He picked up his jacket, left the company, and got into a taxi. Then, he called Gao Ran. To Hua Min's surprise, before he could even go in, Qin Chu arrived. Sure enough, taking a taxi was faster than taking the bus. As soon as Gao Ran left, Qin Chu arrived. Why, are you here? Hua Min looked at the travel-worn Qin Chu. Is there a movie theater near your house? He raised his head and looked into her eyes with his clear eyes. There is one. Let's go and watch a movie. Qin Chu didn't take no for an answer. He turned around and left. Hua Min had no choice but to follow him with her backpack on her back and her head down. For the first time, Hua Min felt that this man was a bit domineering. Chapter 4682. The movie theater near Hua Min's house could only be described with one word, rundown. In other words, it was too rundown. It was a residential area for the commoners, so there was a lack of consumption. It was difficult to even afford food and drink, let alone spiritual food. Therefore, when the two of them arrived, there were not many people in the movie theater. There were only 3 couples sitting in the hall. Hua Min followed behind Qin Chu without saying a word. Qin Chu went straight to the front desk to buy tickets. At that moment, Hua Min saw clearly that although the movie theater was run down, the posters were new. A foreign girl in a red dress with a cool weapon in her hand. There were 4 big words written on the poster, Resident Evil. Hua Min did not like to play games, so when Resident Evil was released in the early years, she did not play much. She did not understand what kind of movie it was. Until she walked in with Qin Chu, the two of them were at 9:50 p.m. Sitting in the rundown movie theater, there were only 7 people in the hall, including the two of them. When the movie was officially released, Hua Min realized that she had been tricked by this guy. Because they did not prepare in advance, the name did not seem like a low-level horror movie. Therefore, Hua Min had been watching it as a popcorn movie. She took advantage of the time when Qin Chu went to buy tickets. She also bought cola and popcorn. The two of them sat side by side in the 5th row. The 5th row was actually very close to the screen. At that time, there were no 3D theaters to speak of. Especially a small movie theater like this. Therefore, Hua Min happily sat in the 1st row, waiting to watch a much more enjoyable movie. However, as soon as the movie started, a zombie scene appeared without warning. The visual stimulation and sound effects scared Huamin so much that she trembled. Then, she subconsciously moved closer to Qin Chu. Then, this guy went crazy and asked her as if nothing had happened, "Are you okay?" "I'm fine." Huamin gritted her teeth. It had to be said that Qin Chu was indeed very happy and enjoyed the whole process. Because he was a player of the Resident Evil game version, he resonated with the movie when he watched it. Huamin wasn't as scared as before after learning that it was a zombie film. Following the plot, he felt that it was really quite exciting. It was a supercomputer that was infected with a virus and turned into a villain, turning scientists into zombies. Thus, the protagonist entered into an endless mode of fighting zombies. This type of film was not popular in the country in the early years, so when it was first released, it was indeed very popular. In fact, Qin Chu had already seen it once at the cinema in the city center. However, because she felt that it was very interesting, she decided to take Huamin to see it again. Of course, it was also a little prank. The truth was, she was indeed frightened at the beginning. She couldn't help but stick close to Qin Chu. By the time they finished watching the movie, it was already 11 o'clock at night. After walking out of the cinema, Qin Chu asked her, "Are you hungry?" "I'm okay." Huamin didn't pretend to grumble and rubbed her stomach. "Shall we eat barbecue?" "I'm fine with anything," Huamin said. At that time, she was indeed a Buddhist woman. "If you go home late, won't your mom scold you?" he asked. "I told my mom that I'm with my classmates, so she won't worry." Actually, young Merong's control over Huamin was considered relatively lax among the parents. This might have had something to do with Huamin's results. Her own child always came in first place without any suspense. How could she still ask her to do homework at home every day? "Then let's go and eat some barbecue." Qin Chu was in a good mood. During the company meeting in the afternoon, he didn't eat much at the buffet, so he was a little hungry now. He took Huamin around Huamin's house and finally found a small shop that was open day and night. Chapter 4683. After the two of them went in and ordered some food, Qin Chu lowered his head and took out his phone. Huamian was still gnawing on the unfinished popcorn in her hand. "Zhu Lingling likes Xingyan?" Qin Chu's sudden question surprised Huamin. After all, he wasn't the kind of person who liked to gossip. "No, it's just for fun." She likes to join in the fun. The more you don't let her do something, the more she likes to do it. Qin Chu put down his phone and glanced at Huamin. "It's best if it's not. You two should stay away from Xingyan. He's fine, but Jiang Xiaoying's family background is a bit complicated. Gao Ran and I happen to meet and can help you fight. Also, it's only on campus. If you get stopped outside one day, you'll be in trouble." "Okay, I'll be careful." Huamin knew that Qin Chu meant well and reminded her and Zhu Lingling. She didn't know Jiang Xiaoying's background, but she believed that Qin Chu and Gao Ran should know. This was definitely not an alarmist talk. Besides, Zhu Lingling didn't like Xingyan to begin with. She was just angry with the cheerleader. After chatting for a while, the skewers were ready. The two of them didn't talk much, so they tacitly ate the skewers as soon as they were served. Huamin didn't like fatty meat. Ever since he was a child, he didn't eat a single bite. Even when his mother cooked braised pork at home and Jixin ate it until his mouth was full of meat, Huamin didn't eat it. Therefore, she picked out all the fatty meat in the skewers and only ate the lean meat. "You don't eat fatty meat?" Qin Chu looked at Huamin. Why?" "It's disgusting." "Qin Chu, if you like it, I'll give it to you so that it won't go to waste." Huamin deliberately pushed the fat meat in front of Qin Chu. Unexpectedly, he looked at her with disdain. "In your dreams." Huamin couldn't help but laugh out loud. He didn't expect his reaction to be so cute. That devilish laughter made Qin Chu even more disgusted. After dinner, Qin Chu sent Huamin back. Although it was a civilian district, it was very quiet and safe at night. The people who lived in the neighborhood were all neighbors who had lived together for decades. Therefore, this place was not as complicated as the northern suburbs. There were people from all walks of life. The two of them walked back along the dark street lamps. Huamin was the first to break the silence. "I thought you would hate me," Huamin said. "Why?" Qin Chu tilted his head and looked at the girl beside him. Her delicate side profile was even clearer in the night. It was very cute. "Because I heard, before I came, you were always first in your grade. After I came, you were." After hesitating for a moment, Huamin decided to tell the truth. "After I came, you were always number 2. Sure enough, after hearing this, Qin Chu's face darkened slightly. "That's why I think you might treat me like a mortal enemy. I do want to deal with you. That's why I took you to watch movies and eat barbecue. I'll destroy you with a sugar-coated bullet," Qin Chu said. "Really?" Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. However, seeing how serious Qin Chu was, he wasn't sure if it was true or not. "This is only plan 1. There's also plan 2. Do you want to hear it?" Qin Chu suddenly said. "Let me guess, are you going to dismember my body and throw me into a stinky ditch, to die on my own?" Huamin laughed. Qin Chu shook his head. "Then you're going to take me to eat, drink, and play all day so that I won't have time to study?" Huamin continued to guess. Chapter 4684. Qin Chu continued to shake his head. "Forget it, I can't guess. Hurry up and tell me, what's plan 2? Qin Chu was silent for a moment before he said in a voice that was neither too loud nor too soft, "Date you and fall in love with you, then I'll fall in love with you and be addicted to your tenderness. My grades will plummet." Huamin continued to joke. Qin Chu shook his head again. "After you become my girlfriend, even if you get first place every time, I won't be embarrassed. Because, we'll be family anyway. What's the difference between first and second place?" "Ha ha ha, you've got a great plan. If I can't beat you, I'll bribe you, recruit you. Sooner or later, I'll assimilate you. We'll become family." Huamin laughed happily. After all, she admired Qin Chu's imagination and thought he was joking. Qin Chu didn't deny it, nor did he continue to explain. He just smiled slightly. The truth was, it was a long way from the barbecue restaurant to Huamin's house. It would take at least 20 minutes to walk. However, as the two of them chatted and walked, they felt like time passed by very quickly. They arrived in no time. When they reached the door, Huamin turned around. "I'm here." "Emichem, you're not going to walk back, are you? What are you thinking? It's 20 kilometers from your house to mine. Do I have to walk for 3 days?" Qin Chu was speechless. It's not easy to get a taxi here. You might have to walk for more than 10 minutes to get to Shergo Road. It's okay. Thank you for the movie and barbecue today." Emichem, Qin Chu nodded. "So, I've decided to repay you. I'll do fewer questions in the next monthly exam. I won't be too far behind you. I won't embarrass you too much." After speaking, Huamin ran in before Qin Chu could say anything. "Naughty." Qin Chu looked at her back and smiled warmly. He knew that Huamin's personality was not the kind of person his classmates had seen. He slept in all day, ignored everyone, loved to act cool, and was a top student. Huamin was just a little girl who was afraid of trouble, didn't want to fight against each other, and didn't want to make false friendships. Actually, his thoughts were very pure, even purer than draft beer. Beneath those perfunctory appearances, there was a genuine, laughing, and occasionally amusing little girl. Qin Chu liked it. He liked it very much. He didn't tell Huamin before Huamin came to second high. "When I first saw her interview on TV, I felt that this young lady would definitely be my wife in the future." Qin Chu didn't know where that strong feeling came from. Many years later, he realized that it wasn't love at first sight, and that it wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. It was only because it was fate that had accumulated over many, many years. When Huamin returned home, he walked quietly. He was afraid that he would wake up his mother and Jixin. However, he was still blocked by Jixin at the door. "Sis. Oh my God, you scared me to death. Sis, you're back so late. Where did you go?" "I went out with my classmates." "Male classmates?" Jixin smiled evilly. "Don't talk nonsense. It must be. Sis, are you in a relationship?" Jixin asked mysteriously. "Talk your head." Lin Yiqian snorted. "Of course, otherwise you wouldn't be back so late. You smell like barbecue. Looks like you went for supper. You're finished, sis. If I tell Mom that you're in a relationship, Mom will definitely break your legs." "Jing Jixin, if you keep talking nonsense, I'll break your legs first. But if you buy me an ice cream cone, I might not tell your secret." Jixin secretly threatened his sister. Chapter 4685. You look like an ice cream cone. Huamin punched Jixin's head and quickly closed the door. "My sister is so violent, I don't even know if she'll get married in the future." Jixin looked at his sister's door and sighed slightly. But reality proved that Jixin was overthinking. Not only would Huamin get married, but she would also be very popular. Huamin stayed up late on Friday, so on Saturday morning, she slept until 10:30 a.m. Her mother was afraid that she would be too tired from studying, so she didn't wake her up. When Huamin got up, no one was at home. As usual, there was rice in the pot. Jixin must have gone to play soccer with his friends, and her mother must have gone to the nearby mountains with the neighbors to pick some mushrooms and dig up some wild vegetables. After Huamin got up, she washed up and ate quietly. In the pot, there was white rice, her favorite steamed egg custard, and a serving of garlic stir-fried meat. Halfway through the meal, she received a call from Zhu Lingling. "Mian, what are you doing?" "Eating." "Damn it, it's 10 a.m., what are you eating? Breakfast or lunch?" "Either is fine." Huamin smiled. "Did Gao Ran give it to you last night?" "Yeah, did anything romantic happen between you two?" "No." "PSH, I don't believe it, that guy is so perverted, how could he not say anything romantic to you?" Zhu Lingling didn't want to give up and continued to ask. Huamin ate while holding her phone. "Gao Ran is obsessed with looks, he didn't like me to begin with. I'm just plain noodle, he likes beautiful women, gorgeous women, oh yeah, women like you." "Don't talk nonsense. I don't like him, he's a pervert." "How is he a pervert?" Huamin couldn't help but laugh. "He looks wretched. He always pretends to be handsome. I heard that he flirts with all the pretty girls in the 8th class. He calls them his first wife or second wife. Oh, if that's the case, then if you're with him, wouldn't you be the 13th concubine's wife, huh?" Huamin suddenly thought of the 13th mistress in Huang Feihong and laughed happily. "Motherfucker. Can you stop letting your imagination run wild? Let's not talk about this. What's the plan for today?" "Nothing. I'll take you out to play." "No, I'm a good kid." "Billiards, wanna play?" "It's really, really fun. I just learned it from someone last week. There's a billiard hall near the school. It's really cheap. 20 yuan is enough for a day." "No, 20 yuan is too expensive." "I'll pay." "I'm not going either." "I-oh. Why are you like this?" "Then I'll go to your house to find you. If you don't come with me, I'll eat and drink at your house." After speaking, Zhu Lingling hung up the phone before Huamin could say anything. Huamin was speechless. It was true that Zhu Lingling liked to play. She had been like this since high school. Later on, they would often go to nightclubs and KTV, but this didn't affect their friendship. Huamin didn't like those kinds of places, but he would accompany Zhu Lingling there. Huamin said that he didn't want to play billiards, but Zhu Lingling couldn't resist her coaxing. In the end, he still went. However, he didn't expect to run into some trouble at the billiard hall this time. Many of the billiard halls near the school were run by hooligans. At that time, the crackdown on gangs wasn't so strict. Many hooligans who dropped out of school in their teens followed hooligans in their 20s and called them Big Brother. They thought they were gangsters. Zhu Lingling heard from her classmates that it was cheap to play billiards here, but she didn't expect it to be a gathering place for hooligans. Therefore, the moment the two of them entered, they were targeted. Chapter 4686. Huamin liked plain colors, so she always wore jeans, a white short-sleeved shirt, and a ponytail. Zhu Lingling liked bright colors, so she wore a bright yellow floral dress. Her long hair fell over her shoulders, and she even wore a headband that matched her dress. It had to be said that she was a beauty at first glance. She was the prettiest girl in Class 1, and she was also famous on the school's beauty rankings. Open the table. No matter what Zhu Lingling played, she was very open. As soon as she entered, she asked the 5 colleges to open the table. The innermost one is not bad. It's quiet. Huamin pointed at the innermost table. Okay. The two of them walked in. Huamin didn't know much about billiards, but with her talent, Zhu Lingling simply explained it to her and she caught the essence. The two of them began to play. After playing 2 rounds, they were quite addicted. They didn't notice that people on the second floor were already quietly talking about them. The 2 girls downstairs are not bad, especially the one in the yellow dress. She has big breasts and white legs. Ah, that's a famous beauty from our school. And she's in the experimental class. The experimental class is good. She's good at studying. I just want to find a girl who's good at studying to play with. Big Brother June, should I go down and call her up for you now? No need. Let them play first. We'll talk after they're done. The man called Big Brother June had a face full of pockmarks. He looked like a bird that would sprain its foot if it landed on him. His hair was dyed yellow, and he wore a black short-sleeved shirt with a skull on it. His jeans were torn, and there was a tattoo on his arm that looked like a top. Waiter, 2 bottles of soda. Zhu Lingling waved her hand. A 17 or 18-year-old boy immediately walked over with 2 bottles of soda. How much is it? Zhu Lingling asked. It's free. Big Brother June said that he's treating you guys to it. Big Brother June? Zhu Lingling was a little confused. She searched her mind but couldn't find anyone who knew this Big Brother June. You know him? Huamin asked her quietly. Zhu Lingling shook her head. Thank you for your kindness, Brother June, but I can afford it. Zhu Lingling took out her small and exquisite purse, took out 2 yuan from it, and stuffed it into the waiter's hand. At that time, glass bottles of soda were very cheap, 1 yuan a bottle. Zhu Lingling was better off than Huamin. She was the only child in her family, so she had more freedom in her pocket money. The waiter was in a difficult position. He didn't say much and took the money back to the second floor. He seemed to have a few words with Brother June. After 7 or 8 rounds, the two of them felt a little tired. Mian, what do you want to eat? You've already treated me to billiards and drinks. I'll treat you to food later. Huamin knew that Zhu Lingling was richer than him. But as friends, it was better to reciprocate. After all, he couldn't always let Zhu Lingling spend money. Okay, then I want to eat hot and sour noodles and beef patties. Sure. Huamin smiled. These snacks were very cheap, and the ones near the school were even more cost-effective. So, Huamin touched the 50 yuan in his pocket with confidence. However, when the two of them put down their billiard cues and walked out, they ran into some trouble. Beauties, wait a minute. Zhu Lingling and Huamin both turned around. You two, our boss, Brother June, wants to meet you. Your boss? We don't know him. Zhu Lingling said. Yes, it's because we don't know him that we want to meet. Brother Jun is very famous around here. If you two become friends with Brother Jun, you can come and play for free in the future. Forget it, let's go. Hua Min held Zhu Lingling's hand. She didn't want her and Lingling to interact with these young men. It wasn't because she was prejudiced, but because she felt that as students, it was better not to have too complicated social relationships. Chapter 4687. Unexpectedly, they couldn't even leave. Unbeknownst to them, a few men who were playing billiards downstairs had gathered around them. 6 or 7 of them surrounded Hua Min and Zhu Lingling. This sense of crisis was different from the last time they were in school. The last time they were in school, so nothing could have happened. But this time, they were outside of school, and it was the weekend. No one would meddle in their business. Hua Min thought to himself, oh no, there's trouble, pretty lady, don't be so rude. Our boss appreciates the two of you. If you don't give him face, our brother Jun will be very angry. What do you mean? Are you forcing us? Zhu Lingling was very angry. You can't say that. It's fate that the two of you came here today. Since it's fate, isn't it good to be friends? I'm not going. I don't believe that you won't let us go forever. Zhu Lingling's temper was very stubborn. Where's your boss? I want to talk to him. Hua Min glanced at the few minions calmly. The boys probably didn't expect Hua Min to say this. They looked at each other. Why aren't you calling your boss down? Zhu Lingling glared at them. Then, one of the minions ran up and called the guy called Brother Jun down. When the guy called Brother Jun came down, his eyes never left Zhu Lingling's thighs. He looked like a pervert. In fact, there were very few young people who valued friendship and loyalty. Most of them were like gangsters on TV. Many of these people took advantage of their hooligans' temper and took liberties with students. Some even seduced high school girls and made them pregnant. Then, they irresponsibly brought them to illegal clinics for abortions. They were very cruel to these ignorant children. Hello, sisters. Brother Jun said with a smile, holding a cigarette in his hand. You're the boss here? Hua Min asked him. Yes. So you kept the two of us because you wanted to be friends? That's simple? Hua Min asked directly. The man called Brother Jun looked at Zhu Lingling. To be honest, I'm very interested in this little sister of mine. I want to be boyfriend and girlfriend. Young people in this kind of society were very shameless. The first time they met, they wanted to be boyfriend and girlfriend. What's the difference between this and those bandits in the mountain villages in ancient times? Isn't this kidnapping women? What if my friend doesn't want to? Hua Min asked. After Hua Min asked this question, Brother Jun laughed. The surrounding hooligans also laughed. There's never been a woman that I don't like. Brother Jun seemed to be very confident. Motherfucker. I just don't want to, can you kill me? Zhu Lingling had a bad temper. She was furious when she heard what others said. Hua Min pressed down on her hand, indicating that he would not let her continue to be angry. So, if my friend doesn't agree, we'll be in trouble, right? Brother Jun glanced at Hua Min with admiration. Little girl, you're very smart. How about this? Since you've been around for so long, you're considered a reputable person, then you should have heard of someone. Oh? Who? Brother Jun was also interested when he saw that Hua Min wanted to mention someone. Hua Xiqian. Do you know him? Hua Min asked him. Hearing Hua Xiqian's name, Brother Jun and the hooligans beside him were shocked. You know Hua Xiao? Take note that the person called Brother Jun politely addressed him as Hua Xiao. Hua Min wanted to take a gamble, but he didn't expect it to really work. In fact, Hua Min and Hua Xiqian had only met less than 3 times. Chapter 4688. However, Huamin was smart because she knew how to make good use of people. Although she didn't have a good impression of Hua Xiqian and the Huas, she heard that Hua Xiqian was doing well in the underworld. When Huamin was in high school, Hua Xiqian was about to graduate from university. He went abroad to further his studies after graduating and then came back to inherit his family business. Therefore, Hua Xiqian was still in the Hua Xia Empire at the time. He was studying at a famous university in the country. Although his character was questionable, Hua Xiqian was undoubtedly a straight-A student. Yes, Hua Xiqian is my friend. Hee, little girl, you're not lying to me, are you? You have a mouth, so of course you can say whatever you want. This big brother June was quite cunning. He didn't believe Huamin's one-sided story. After all, he had been in the underworld before and didn't want to be fooled by a little girl. Huamin couldn't even bear to look at this big brother June's face. After all, his face was full of bumps and bruises. It was really scary. If you don't believe me, you can call him and ask. Of course, if you have his number. Huamin's tone had a hint of arrogance. Big brother June, how about we ask brother Yang to call Hua Xiao? What if they really work for Hua Xiao? If we offend them? Yeah, that's a good idea. You call Lu Yang. After listening to his subordinate's analysis, Big brother June also felt that they couldn't be so reckless. Although it was true that he was lustful, his fear of Hua Xiqian was also real. This young master of the Hua family was already very famous in the university. He had a lot of women and money. It was said that he had a very violent temper and was the type to seek revenge for the smallest grievance. With Big brother June's small status, he naturally wouldn't be able to come into contact with Hua Xiqian. However, their leader was Hua Xiqian's underling. Therefore, in order to prove whether Huamin's words were true or not, he could only get someone to contact Hua Xiqian and ask. Mian, what are you doing? How do you know Hua Xiqian? Although Zhu Lingling was close to Huamin, she didn't know that she was the illegitimate daughter of the Hua family. Therefore, they thought that Huamin was spouting nonsense to help them out. It's okay, don't be afraid. Huamin only said 4 words. She knew that if she didn't take out something today, she might really be in trouble. Of course, she had originally planned to let Qin Chu come, but there were too many people here, and these gangsters did not hold back. What if Qin Chu and Gao Ran came and got injured? After thinking about it, she decided to use Hua Xiqian as a shield first. At that moment, Hua Xiqian was flirting with girls in a cafe. He hugged an innocent junior from university and kissed her. When he received the call, he thought it was a prank. Really? That girl said she knows me. She said she's my friend? But I don't remember having a high school friend. Hua Xiqian looked down and laughed. His female companion was pressed tightly against his chest. He held his phone with one hand and moved his other hand up and down her back. His movements were extremely flirtatious. Sister, Hua Xiao said he doesn't know any high school girls. Are you messing with us? The guy called Big Brother June glared at Huamin with a gloomy expression. It would be embarrassing if they were fooled. Then they couldn't let them leave today. Zhu Lingling also felt a little guilty. She wanted to find an opportunity to run away with Huamin. Tell Hua Xiqian that I'm Huamin. Huamin threw out this sentence calmly, as if the name Huamin was a famous person. Chapter 4689. Mr. June asked Hua Xiqian carefully. Mr. Hua, I'm so sorry to bother you again. That girl said, her name is Huamin. Mr. June was also thinking that since they both had the same surname, could they be related? Maybe she was a distant relative of the Hua family? That was why he believed Huamin and called Hua Xiqian again. Of course, Hua Xiqian might not even know who he was. Hua Xiqian's face changed when he heard Huamin's name. Oh, Huamin? Hua Xiqian thought he heard wrong. It's Huamin. Do you know her? Mr. June asked carefully. She's with you right now? Hua Xiqian continued to ask. Yes, Mr. Hua. Address. Huh. Mr. Jun didn't know how to react. Give me the address. Hua Xiqian gritted his teeth and repeated. Mr. Jun quickly told him the address. Don't touch her. I'll be there right away. After hanging up, Mr. Jun looked at Hua Min with a complicated expression. Mr. Jun, what did Mr. Hua say? Does he know them or not? The person beside him was also very anxious. Mr. Hua said, he'll be there right away. Mr. Jun wasn't sure what their relationship was, but he could confirm one thing from Hua Xiqian's words. Hua Xiqian and Hua Min knew each other. Therefore, he couldn't touch the two women in front of him no matter what. Before Hua Xiqian hung up, he didn't forget to remind him not to touch her. Sure enough, it only took 15 minutes. Hua Xiqian drove a very flashy orange BMW sports car. There was only one woman in the car, and it was his date. He didn't have any underlings, but Hua Xiqian's face was recognized everywhere he went. His style of dressing was very exaggerated. Perhaps this habit really started many years ago. Hua Xiqian wore a dark red shirt with diamonds at the cuffs. As soon as he walked in, the hooligans all stood at attention. Mr. Hua. This brother Jun immediately went over like a lackey. Mr. Hua, you're here. Who's there? Hua Xiqian didn't want to talk to this person and asked directly. Over there. Hua Xiqian followed brother Jun's finger and walked over. As expected, he saw Hua Min in jeans and a white short-sleeved shirt. He narrowed his eyes and looked from head to toe to. Hua Min didn't like Hua Min, and didn't like Min didn't like him. Therefore, she didn't say anything and just looked at him quietly. Little sister Mian. I'm glad you thought of me. Hua Xiqian smiled. Hua Min thought of him when she was in danger. This surprised Hua Xiqian, but he was also very happy. Can we go now? Hua Min asked Mr. Jun directly. Hua Xiqian called Hua Mian little sister, which was enough to prove their relationship. Mr. Jun was so scared that he almost peed his pants. He immediately nodded. I'm sorry, Miss Hua. What happened today was a misunderstanding. I'm sorry for wasting your time. You're welcome to play basketball in the future. It's free for life. Hua Min glared at him. I'm never coming to your place again. Lingling, let's go. Hua Min pulled Zhu Lingling out. Little sister Mian, I'll drive you. Hua Xiqian was very attentive. Hua Min glanced at the sports car at the door and the girl in the passenger seat. She turned around and asked Hua Xiqian with a serious expression, drive me? Where do we sit? On the hood of your sports car? Chapter 4690. Hua Min's words made Hua Xiqian chuckle. You can let your friends sit in the front passenger seat, and I can ask the person in the front passenger seat to get out immediately, Hua Xiqian said confidently. What about me? Hua Min really wanted to ask him. If Lingling sat in the front passenger seat, what about him? You can sit on my lap. Hua Xiqian said such shameless words in such a dignified manner. Zhu Lingling was a jokester, but even she was flabbergasted. Luckily, Hua Min's face was calm. That's not necessary, I don't have the habit of sitting on other people's laps. But I'm not just anyone. We're family, Hua Xiqian said meaningfully. Hua Xiao, since you're so sincere, why don't you give me the keys? You two get out of the car and give me the car. Hua Min actually wanted to argue with him, since he was openly flirting with him just now. To his surprise, Hua Xiqian took out the BMW keys from his pocket and threw them into Hua Min's arms. Even the girl sitting in the front passenger seat was shocked. Zhu Lingling's mouth opened into the shape of a goose's egg. If you like it, take it. As long as you're happy. Hua Xiqian continued to smile gently. Hua Min quickly threw the keys to him. I'm still underage, I don't know how to drive. Then, he grabbed Zhu Lingling and ran away in a panic. Hua Xiqian was left behind, watching Hua Min's back as he ran away, and his smile seemed to grow even wider. Hua Xiao. What happened today? Behind him, Brother Jun seemed to want to explain things to Hua Xiqian in order to build a good relationship. Hua Xiqian turned around, and his face darkened as he looked at the shabby billiard hall. Don't open this shop anymore. Don't ever appear near Second High again. With that, Hua Xiqian opened the car door, got into the car, and sped off. Brother Jun was speechless. He really regretted letting those two girls stay. Because of a girl, he couldn't even keep the shop open. This kind of action was really heart-wrenching. Qian, that girl just now, don't ask what you shouldn't. Hua Xiqian said this with a smile, but the girl still felt that he was really fierce. After running away, the two of them went to eat hot and sour noodles and pies. This was what Hua Min had promised to treat Lingling to. Even when the two of them were sitting in the snack bar, Zhu Lingling didn't forget to ask. Wow, Mian, you're amazing. I didn't know there were so many hidden talents in our class. What kind of background do you have? I don't have a background, I only have a back view. Hua Min lowered his head. I don't believe you, I don't believe you. Hurry up and tell me. How do you know Hua Xiao? Damn, this is the first time I've seen him up close. I've seen him once before, but from afar. I heard he's really popular at T University. He changes 7 girlfriends a year. How would I know about him? Then he came to save us just now, oh. It's probably because my family is a little bit related to his family, distant relatives. Hua Min began to talk nonsense with a straight face. Haha, he just said he wanted you to sit on his lap. Oh my god. Zhu Lingling thought that Hua Xiqian's flirting skills were really amazing. No wonder he had so many girls around him. With my weight, I'm afraid I'll break his leg if I sit on him. Hua Min said calmly. Ha 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 ha, why do you look like you don't like him? Hua Xiao is pretty handsome. He's rich and handsome, you should go to the eye doctor, Lingling. Zhu Lingling, Mian, tell me the truth, do you like the guys in Qin Chu's group? Zhu Lingling suddenly asked in a mysterious tone. Chapter 4691. Why are you talking about him all of a sudden? Because I feel that you treat him differently, don't talk nonsense. I treat everyone the same. You're the only one I treat differently. Don't change the subject. I'm serious. Do you think people like Qin Chu are the most handsome? Yeah. He's indeed handsome. What about Gao Ran, Xing Yan, and Qi Hong? You can add them together and compare them. You're so boring, do you want to compare? Gao Ran is handsome. I think Gao Ran is the most handsome. Why? Zhu Lingling was surprised to hear Hua Min's answer. I just think he's handsome. Although he doesn't look serious, he's very handsome, damn. Don't tell me you're interested in that perverted man. Forget it. I'm still young. Don't lead a minor astray, Zhu Lingling. The two of them giggled as they ate the hot and sour noodles and pancakes. After digesting, they went to the school's badminton hall to play for a while. When they came out, Zhu Lingling didn't forget to look at the basketball court. Hua Min also remembered what Qin Chu had told him before. Lingling, you're not interested in that captain to begin with. Let's stay away from him in the future. Those outsiders are all related to him. We don't want to get involved in that mess. Okay. Zhu Lingling wasn't an insensible person. She understood what Hua Min meant and nodded. Zhu Lingling actually wanted to see if that kid from class 8 was there. Did he play basketball with Qin Chu? Surprisingly, they didn't come over during the weekend. She didn't know where they went. Mian. Let's go to the movies tomorrow. Forget it, I'm not interested in movies. You don't have to pay. My dad has a lot of free coupons. I heard that there's a big movie out. It's a Hollywood production. It's called biohazard. Biohazard? Hua Min corrected her. Yes, biohazard. Eh. How do you know? Many places are advertising this film. Hua Min said guiltily. Oh. I thought you saw it already. No, Hua Min denied immediately. If Lingling found out that she had watched a movie with Qin Chu, had a barbecue, and even sent her home, she would be furious. She didn't know how big of an explosion it would cause. Moreover, with such a big mouth, she might accidentally spread the news. Then let's go see it tomorrow. No, I don't like horror movies. Hua Min refused again. How boring, Then I'll find a guy to watch it with me. The two of them chatted as they walked. When they reached the bus stop, they parted ways and went home separately. Perhaps it was because there were too many people on Saturday, but Hua Min stood there and waited for 20 minutes for the bus to come. She was so anxious that she walked down one more station, but he still didn't come. Then, he heard the whispers of the people next to him. It seemed that there was a traffic accident on a certain road. Many cars were stuck there, unable to pass. Hua Min sighed slightly. Just as she was about to look for her change to see if it was enough to call a taxi, just then, a black Audi A8 slowly stopped in front of her. The car door was open from the inside, and Hua Min saw a familiar face. Get in. Huh? Hua Min was slightly surprised and hesitated. It's going to rain soon, get in first, Qin Chu said. Hua Min slowly walked over and sat in the back seat, next to Qin Chu. Why are you here? Hua Min asked him in a low voice. I just came back from some errands and happened to pass by. There was an accident on Tianxiao Road. The bus that you always take was loaded onto a white car. I don't think it's done yet. It'll take a long time. Oh. I see. Thank you. Young master, where are we going now? The driver asked Qin Chu. Hua Min thought that she would say the eastern suburbs. After all, he knew where she lived. To the hotel, Qin Chu only said 3 words. Hua Min looked at him in shock. Chapter 4692. Back then, GK only owned one 5-star hotel, and it was named after GK. Hua Min never thought that Qin Chu would want to go to a hotel. His heart skipped a beat, but he was too embarrassed to ask. After all, other than the two of them, there was also a driver. On the way, Hua Min kept glancing at Qin Chu, trying to figure out what was going on. Unfortunately, this guy didn't even look at him. When they finally arrived at the hotel, Qin Chu got out of the car first. The driver came over and said, Young lady, my young master asked me to take you to the lounge. Oh, okay. Hua Min followed the chauffeur into the hotel lobby in a daze. On the second floor of the hotel lobby, there was an elegant tea room. Hua Min was taken into a luxurious lounge by the driver. Young master has something to take care of, please take a seat and wait for a moment. Okay. Hua Min nodded, and the driver left. A waiter came in and brought Hua Min exquisite snacks and coffee. Hua Min looked around and sighed silently. He didn't know what Qin Chu was up to. The truth was, Qin Chu still had things to do. He was passing by Second High and happened to see her waiting for a bus. Qin Chu knew that the bus she usually took had an accident, so he picked her up and brought her here. He had to meet a client for his father and discuss a business deal. Qin Chu probably took Hua Min's feelings into consideration, so it took less than 20 minutes for him to finish the discussion. He didn't even have time to send the client off, and went straight to the lounge. When he came in, Hua Min was reading a magazine, all of which were gossip news. After Qin Chu came in, he sat down on the sofa across from Hua Min. Then, he picked up a macaron. What are you doing? Hua Min looked up at him. I'm helping my dad with something. Are you hungry? I'm not hungry, I just ate with Lingling not long ago. Okay, I'll take you home. Chu hurriedly put the snack in his mouth and took a big gulp of coffee. It was obvious that he was tired. You haven't eaten yet? Yeah. Chu nodded honestly. No way, you're a student. Why are you acting like a businessman? Min looked at him with a complicated expression. This is my family's business. If I don't do it, my dad. Hearing Chu's words, Min, at least, he knew how to share his father's. I'm not in a hurry to go back. Why don't you eat first? It would take at least an hour to get there and out in the way. Seeing that it was already so late and he still hadn't eaten, Min's heart softened. Okay, you can eat with me. Chu's tone was very formal, but it sounded like he was acting coquettishly. Min was about to refuse when he asked, do you like spicy food? Huh? Can you eat spicy food? I'm okay. Min pondered. Then let's go, I'll take you to eat Sichuan food. With that, Chu turned around and left. Min could only silently follow behind. Chu brought Min directly to the Chinese restaurant on the top floor. It was a Sichuan restaurant in a hotel. The decoration was very high-end, and there were dazzling crystal lights everywhere. Spicy boiled fish, Chu ordered the waiter. Okay, young master. What do you like to eat? Chu asked her. She was about to say that she wasn't hungry. Then, this domineering guy said, make a brown sugar glutinous rice cake for my friend. You're tuning into the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.